What do you see? Usually a platform about 18 years is high.
Good morning, Alice. Can you hear me okay? Is the microphone on, Alice?
It is.
Oh,
Now?
I brought a microphone for you. We can hear you. How are you, Alice?
It's morning and it's raining.
Ah, that sounds like a great morning. We need the rain to grow. Where are you dialing in from?
Kinston, North Carolina.
Kinston, home of the Kinston Indians, last time I checked.
Oh, I don't know.
Thank you so much for joining, Alice. Alice, meet Marie. Marie, meet Alice.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Alice. Nice to meet you. I'm
Good to
in
meet you.
Fayetteville.
What, so are you in Raleigh?
No, I'm in Fayetteville, not far from Raleigh.
Are they having the in-person event?
No, not here. Not here. I'm online as well. So that's in Raleigh.
Oh, so the virtual and the in-person are two different events?
Same event, just two different ways to attend.
And in two different places?
Well, online and in person in Raleigh.
Are they
As
still
far as I
having
know.
the weather?
You said, how's the weather?
Isn't it?
Yeah, weather-wise, it's raining here. It's a beautiful rainy day.
Yeah, here also.
Yes. Yes.
So what are we doing?
Waiting. And preparing. I'm a new member. This is my first event.
Oh, me also.
Yes.
Oh, I don't think I'm a member though. I only found the event through LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
and what's his name? Mr. Phelps.
Okay.
Is my video on?
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna turn it off. What do you? Aha! Yay! I can't focus when I'm worrying about my appearance. Which is probably going to help me through this conference so that I learn how to be presenting without fear.
Yes, I look forward to the different topics and the different speakers.
And are you the audience?
Yes, I'm in the audience.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Marie also?
I didn't hear your last question.
Everybody here that I am seeing currently is the audience?
I am not sure what everybody's role is, but I think the very top one where it says attended may be people at the actual event.
So when do we tune into that? Shouldn't we be part of that already?
Well, they're live at the event.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they'll show it soon. Turn it on.
Oh, okay. I thought you were speaker.
No, I'm not a speaker. Well, I'm not at this event. I'm not a speaker with this event.
What do you speak at otherwise?
Yes, not at NSA Carolinas yet, but I speak in other places.
And what do you speak about?
I speak about spiritual alignment. I speak about intentional living, intentional life matters. So those are the things that I speak about: practical spirituality and intentionality.
Excellent.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I'm a digital artist
Oh,
and planning performance art.
wow. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. How about Marie?
Hmm?
I'm getting more people.
Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Dr. Larissa. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Good right now, yeah.
Good
How are you,
morning.
Dr. Larissa?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing outstanding, doing outstanding. How are y'all doing with Ophelia?
Pretty good. It's just windy now. It's pretty much stopped raining, which is good.
Good, 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 good. So great for you to join. And Dr. Larissa, I've made you the a co-host so you can share slides at your leisure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to see you, Ed. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sounding sharp. Where are you joining us from today?
From my home office
And where is that?
in Raleigh.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow, I guess is the microphone on? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ed. My other folks that are joining us online, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay,
Good
that's a lively
morning.
bunch. I guess Ophelia got to you. My folks in person, good morning. No. We're NSA Carolinas and we're speakers. We can do better than that. I'm going to keep it real. Good morning. That's what I'm talking about, Willis. How's everyone feeling? Good, good. Well, welcome. Saturday, September 23rd. We've got an exciting and truly thrilling program in store for you. Is that cool? Is that what you're here for? Get your learn on? I like that. Great to see everyone here, downtown Raleigh. Great to see my folks that are joining us online, virtually, remotely. Dr. Larissa, we cannot wait to hear from you. You're in the Outer Banks, Nags Head. Hope you and your family are keeping safe given this treacherous weather that's out there. We're talking about the business of professional speaking virtually. And we've got folks that are remote, AKA virtual. We've got people here in person. I'm super excited. We've got the professor, Dr. Larissa Nadoni, who's done research. She's going to be sharing with us some of her insights. We've got the artist, Stan Phelps, who's going to be providing us some insights on the CVP as well as some other designations. We've got the expert, and we're here in his studio, Evan Carroll, who's going to be giving us tremendous insights around presenting virtually as a professional speaker. And then we've got the wizard, John Chen, who's going to be joining us from the Pacific Northwest later on today. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment for some special announcements. Number one, let me see. Ooh. One, I guess I need the wizard to work that magic. Number one, yes. Can you hit next slide? No, just click on the slide. Just click on the slide and let's see if we can work some magic. I love it. I love it. That's going to help us get to the next slide, I hope. Okay, it'll catch up. I do want to give a special shout out because we could not do this without our sponsor. Let's give a warm round of applause to Evan, Carroll, and Attended Events. Okay, we'll get to it. My slides are backwards. I apologize. That's the story of my life, I guess. But we couldn't do it without our sponsor. Thank you so much, Evan, Attended Events, for welcoming us. Today's event is amazing. As you can see, the business of professional speaking virtually. Just a reminder, NSA Carolinas, if you're looking to build a professional speaker business, grow your existing professional speaker business, and or increase your influence, you've come to the right place. Our main goals are to help you be a better speaker on the platform, whatever that platform looks like, build a better speaker business, and be a better speaker. So you've come to the right place. Number three, I want you to realize that this is your community. We are a community. I'm going to get personal. I was in Pinehurst yesterday for an event with Moore County. It was one of my speaker colleagues who had a family emergency and made the call and asked if I could replace him. That's the kind of community that we are. So my encouragement with any community and anything in life, you get out of it what you put into it. So make sure that you use this opportunity, whether you're online, I see you, I got eyes in the back of my head, or whether you're in person, to make connection, to make relationships so that we can make this community even stronger than it already is. So we can help someone else out and in return also help ourselves out. That sound like a plan? Before we get started, I know I'm blowing a lot of hot air. I just want to take a quick second for us to pause My encouragement is for you to set an intention. You came out here through high waters, a lot of wind, and just some treacherous conditions. Why are you here? What do you hope to get out of it? Let's just take a quick 30-second pause, and I just want you to think and reflect on, what do I want to get out of today? A new connection? Is it some new information and content? Whatever that is, I just want you to think about that. I'm going to do the same. I appreciate it. It's going to be our goal today to make sure that we give you that intention, that we provide you with whatever it is that you're seeking and whatever it is that brought you out today. So real quick, some upcoming events. We've got a great event coming up October the 20th, how to launch your speaking to schools, colleges, and educators. Special note about this event, all proceeds go to the NSA Foundation. The foundation is designed to help support our community, our members that are NSA national members with any tough times. Sometimes they say life be lifing. For those members that go through tough times, the NSA Foundation is there to support them through any tough time. Coming up, we've also got SIG, Specialty Interest Groups. I'm excited about this one. We've got one coming up on September the 29th. One of our members, Brandon Burkmeyer, Brands, is going to be sharing with us around podcasting. Coming up on the October the 3rd, we've got another SIG that's going to be around book publishing and promotion. This is special to me. Starting on the 21st of October, we've got our 4th edition of Speaker Academy. We're going to school. Now, I'm not the professor. That's Dr. Larissa. You're the professor. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So I'll be the dean of Speaker Academy. I'm super excited. We've got 6 action-packed, power-packed classes to help you either launch your business or grow your professional speaker business. You'll have a mentor. You'll just have opportunities to soak in so much information and knowledge to elevate your respective game. We've got our next mastermind, quarterly mastermind. That's going to be coming up in October as well. Just super excited. Please check out the events page on our website. I do want to recognize our board members that are in the house. Could our current board members please stand up? Please stand up. Let's give it up for Miss Sarah Glova. Yes. Our VP of Member Engagement. And let's give it up for Mr. Peter A. Yes. If I tried to pronounce his last name, that would be a tough one. For our new members, any new members that have joined since June, please stand up. Please stand up. Yes, and I'm going to give you the microphone. If you can give a quick introduction, who are you and what do you speak about?
Thank you, Larry. Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Barnes, and I speak on tactics to help women in sales reach the top 1%.
I'm James Butler. I speak on systems development, business growth, and primarily in the franchising industry, and I've written books.
Good morning, everybody. I am Ruby Brown Herring, and I speak on employee mental well-being in the workplace.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm super excited. Online, do we have any new members that have joined since June? Okay, hearing none, I want to welcome everyone, all of our
Yes,
members.
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Marie Kirkland, I speak about intentionality and practical spirituality.
Let's give it up for Marie. Welcome. Yes. Welcome all of our members, all of our guests, all of our friends, all of our colleagues. Thank you for being here. I did want to share a message from our president, Dr. Kevin Schneider, who unfortunately had an emergency pop up. He's not able to join us, but he sends his best regards. He looks forward to seeing everyone either virtually or in person. Our next in-person event will be on 11, we're going to Greensboro. I heard some chatter before. Do you always host events here? Are you in Charlotte? We try to spread it out around the Carolinas, North Kakalaki, South Kakalaki. And to my South Carolina folks, we are planning to make our way down south to start off the new year. So we'll see you in South Carolina. Without further ado, let's get this show on the road. It's my honor, my great privilege, my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Larissa Nadolny. She's a highly accomplished researcher with over 15 years of experience in gamification research, human-computer interaction, and product development. She has over 40 peer-reviewed publications and is a sought-out keynote speaker on virtual engagement. In this engaging presentation, we'll discover how to elevate audience engagement through the power of gamification. Let's give a warm NSA Carolinas round of applause to Dr. Larissa Nadolny. The mic is all yours, Dr. Larissa.
Hello, everyone. All right, let me just get set up and make sure I can still see everyone, all your pretty faces. Okay. Can you all see my slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome, good. Okay, so thank you for the really warm introduction and good morning, everyone. As Larry mentioned, I'm in the Outer Banks. The sun is out, so that's a good thing for all of us. So it looks like the storm is passing. A little bit about myself. I've been in academia, a professor of ed tech, human-computer interaction. I studied research, gamification, and game-based learning for 15 years, and now I'm in industry. So I kind of have a long, rich experience in teaching, learning, training, all of that good stuff that we're going to talk about today. Okay. So as we're talking about the power of gamification, particularly how we use it online and in virtual settings, it's really important for us to start off with some level setting. So let's talk about what gamification is. So gamification is a process of adding games or game-like elements to something like a training or event or a public speaking to encourage participation and engagement. That results in change. So I know that was a lot of words there, but basically you think about adding bits and pieces of games to something that's not usually a game, hoping for some positive change, right? That's what we want out of the experience, is something good to happen, something that we want to happen. So in this presentation today, I'm going to talk about those 1, 2, and 3, break it down for you, but we're actually going to go backwards. So we're going to start with number 3 today. I was inspired by Larry and the backward slide, so we're going to do the same thing. All right, so starting on real world change, like what is it that we want in the end of doing any kind of gamified experience? Well, when you think about it, that could be anything, and it depends on the type of problem that you're trying to solve. So when you think about my own personal experience here, I have some examples on the slide of different types of training or course-related material that I have gamified and what the problem was that we were trying to solve. For example, on the first one there, I was new at being a professor, and I was, of course, given that large course that no one wanted to teach. It was like the students hated the course, the professors didn't want to teach it. So it was a course people didn't come to. They just wouldn't show up. So for me, the problem I was trying to solve was attendance. So what I did is I gamified the course in a certain way. I made sure to motivate people to attend. And then in the end, I measured attendance, right? So I connected those dots together to make sure I was using gamification in a way to solve a problem. So things like increased attendance. The second one there, I did a professional development course. It was a blend of face-to-face and online components for state employees. And our problem there was financial literacy. We wanted to increase the financial literacy of state employees, but we wanted to know if they were really making change from what we were doing. So our problem that we were solving was the real world change that they made in their lives. So we designed the course to give lots of choice and options to make sure they were learning the things they needed to learn. And then in the end, we measured real world changes, right? So kind of when you think about using any kind of gamified experience, you have to come back to what is the problem you're trying to solve? And then making sure as you choose little game-like elements they're ones that you think will actually impact that problem. So other things as examples, course clicks, things that were like online clicks. We wanted to prove that in a course. Final grade for a very dense geology course. And then in Town Hall, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, which is an app in Town Hall, boosting engagement live in the meeting, right? So again, very different situations, all of them gamified experiences. All right, and it's not just me. There is decades of research on how to do this. If you just even search on Google Scholar, you'll see hundreds of thousands of articles that mention gamification. But the really exciting part about how this has come along is the past few years. Because there's been so much research on gamified learning experiences, now we're able to put articles together like meta-analysis where you gather lots and lots of research and you analyze it together. So you can see here some of the interesting findings that have come out in the past few years, such as gamification having significant effects on cognitive, motivational, and behavioral outcomes of a learning experience. On the right side, an effect size, which is a good thing to have an effect size, that if you learn with gamification, it's a better experience and better outcomes than without. And then in the middle here, I don't know if this surprises any of you, but the effects of gamification are higher, more positive in adults than it is in children. So something to think about. And we can talk about in the Q&A too, if you're wondering why that is. All right, so we talked, I know we're gonna go fast today, but we'll have some Q&A at the end. So we talked a little bit about kind of that problem solving focus that you need to have, right? To solve something real that you want to be changed in the end. But then now you have to think about what kind of tasks can we gamify? So I'm gonna give you a second to look at this picture here. And I don't know, Larry, do you have a mic in the room?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone want to tell me what they think is gamified? What's going on in this picture here? This is something I grabbed from Pinterest, by the way.
As a Peloton rider, I see the leaderboard. I see my output as it's compared to others.
Excellent.
And I want to get to the top.
That's right. So in this case, what I'm guessing probably is someone's home gym, and they wanted to motivate maybe their family or whoever they're working with, their partner, and they decided to make a leaderboard. So just like you called it out, they are trying to increase engagement in this experience. They're trying to market, and they're using game-like elements to make real results. So that's what they're doing here. Excellent. But we're not here to talk about Peloton, right? We're here to talk about this problem right here, which is virtual speaking, where you have maybe, let's say you have 100 people in the room that you're speaking to, but you only see these. So that means you probably have about 70 other people with their cameras off. You see some people here, and you really don't know who is or isn't engaged and how they're enjoying what you're doing, right? So when we think about what we're going to talk about for the rest of the time today, it's what kinds of things can we do in this online environment to increase engagement and to gamify the experience. All right, so going back to that problem, when we talk about online speaking, what is the problem with that? Like, why is it a struggle? So there's actually been, especially since COVID, quite a bit of research on why people don't like attending online meetings, right? Why they struggle with Zoom in particular, or any other kind of online conferencing program where they are just feeling stressed. And what's that all about? What's happening there? What we found is that things like forcing people's camera on, the feeling that you're being tracked, having to stare intently at a certain person over and over, those are things that are actually very exhausting mentally and can produce a lot of anxiety. So by using gamification, you can think about, you can relieve some of those problems by allowing it to be more fun, by not worrying so much if cameras and mics are on, because you know you're doing other things to get people engaged. By using tools like collaboration and competition, things that are game-like, right? To break up that mindset and give someone a more positive feeling about an experience. So that's what we're going to work on here through this model. So let me take a few minutes to explain this to you. So as I mentioned, there's quite a bit of research on gamification. And what we have found is that there's certain categories, there's 6 of them here. There's 6 categories of buckets of types of things you can do to gamify any experience, not just a virtual one. So I'm going to go through each one. The broad categories are choice, help, assessment, mystery, play, and sensory. So the first one here, choice. So we think about that, particularly adult learners would like to have choice in what they're experiencing. So imagine, imagine you're going to a conference and instead of being able to choose what sessions you attend, someone forces you to, right? That's really stressful, and it can be a negative learning experience and have negative outcomes. That happens a lot in professional development as well. When you think about, I know you're going to talk about K-12 or teachers, a lot of times they have a set schedule of things that they have to learn about. And if you feel like you already know the topic or you're not as interested, it can be demotivating. So providing learners choice is really important. The way that we can do that online, for example, is by saying, here's a breakout room, right? I have 3 breakout rooms set up, and you can choose which one that you want to join, and they all have different topics, right? Allowing users choice. The second one, help, has to do with how you support people that you're training or teaching, right? Do we give them tutorials? Do we give them small little scaffolded challenges that really increase their skill set? Right? How are we supporting them in their own growth? The third one, assessment. This is the one that people typically think about when they think gamification. Rewards, points, leaderboards, right? Those are the types of things that we usually think about first. But just know there are all the other letters of champs in there to think about. Mystery, you know, a lot of different gamified situations. Some people add a storyline to it, or have role playing. That would be that category. Play is collaboration, competition, how we are interfacing with other people, and what kind of dynamics, group dynamics that we're setting up to facilitate that. And then the very last one is anything sensory. So if you think about it, for example, some race car games might have a rumble pad, so you feel like you're actually racing or going over bumps, right? Sensory can be a lot more than just visual. It can be auditory, it can be time-based. It can give us a feeling of being kind of immersed in an environment. All right, so again, I know this is a lot of information, but I want you to know all of this because I want you to think beyond points and leaderboards and badges. There's things that you commonly hear when people talk about gamification. And then you might say, okay, now what? So I have these categories. What am I actually going to do? And there are some examples below them. So for example, like I mentioned, the tutorial, a leaderboard, points, coins, badges, role play. Those are the things that you actually do to make something gamified. All right, let me give you 2 quick examples of this. The first one is, I want you to know that you don't use them all, because the point of gamification is picking and choosing the ones that are going to make the most sense for your environment. So let's say you wanted to gamify a sales team as an example, and you wanted them to earn higher, bring in more revenue to the company. So you might think, okay, we're going to focus on the assessment category. I'm going to have a leaderboard for the salespeople, and I'm going to have them earning up points. And as they earn different levels, they get rewards. Okay, that's great. So you can set up that situation, but I wouldn't try to add in things that don't make sense. Like, for example, in the mystery category, I wouldn't add on top of that a role-playing situation, right? In that case of sales, you don't necessarily need people to be role-playing being a salesperson. You just want them to achieve more, right? So when you think about things that you want to pull for, it always comes back to that problem that you're trying to solve and what you think will motivate people. So if something needs to be story-based, for example, let's say you are in a hospital and you're trying to gamify a training about some type of emergency response. you may actually want to come up with an idea, a situation of role playing where people have to role play how they would respond to that emergency, right? So that would make more sense in that context. So it's really important to think through, start with the problem, and then think about which of these CHAMPS elements make the most sense for you. And then also what you have the ability to do. Do you have the ability to give points? Maybe you don't, right? So you have to choose a different type of game mechanic. In my research, I have found that there are certain combinations that are really powerful that have been used over and over again. They're kind of tried and true. And some of these will make obvious sense to you. So for example, reward and penalty, that pairing, you know, it makes sense. You are going to reward some people and maybe there's like a, you know, a penalty or loss, or you don't win a challenge or you don't win a prize. Those two combinations go really well together. Things like collaboration and competition, those two make a lot of sense. Having some competition, ways that people can compete against each other, but then also giving people a chance to work together and to achieve common goals as well. So you can look into those later. I do have a QR code here if you're interested, a recent study that was published where I'm co-author on it. This one was in an LMS system where we created a gamified dashboard. So what we did is this was for a higher ed course, and we wanted students to know where their grade was at all times, but also how they were progressing through the course. So we gamified a little dashboard that they would see before they even get into the course itself. And what we found, it was an A/B test. What we found was there was a 13% increase in final grades for that gamified section. And it was the same exact content. It wasn't different at all. Right? The only thing that was different was a dashboard on the front of the course that was motivating and engaging and really paid attention to that problem that we were trying to solve for that course. Okay, so I want to show you an example in action, and then I'm going to give you some suggestions of what you can do, a little bit of a takeaway for today. So this is Town Hall. I'm co-founder of Town Hall, but I wanted to share with you a little bit about how this is gamified. So you can see the pieces that I put together to make this solve a specific problem. So Town Hall is a Zoom app, and it's something that you can use. You can try it yourself. In the Zoom App Store, what it does is you click on it, you can open it. As a participant, it has a really fun gamified look, but as a presenter, it has a different look and feel. And we did that on purpose. We designed it with different game elements in mind. So for this one, the problem we were solving was Zoom engagement with cameras and mics. We wanted people to be able to know, are people engaged if cameras and mics are off? You know, does it matter? So we set this up so that even if everyone has their camera and mic off, you can still feel and see engagement from your audience. So how do we do that? So for the participants, the people who are in the Zoom meeting and who have the app up, what game elements did we use? Well, you can see at the top, we use scoring, points, and coins. So we give everyone an engagement score, and that's based on my research. They can earn points as they interact with the app and with Zoom, and that translates into coins, and coins can be spent on rewards. So you can kind of hear some of these things that I was talking about already. We also give notifications, right? We're trying to communicate really well and give clear feedback. Really this kind of immediate feedback loop of gamification. You did something, it was great, good job, and I'm going to tell you. We have some community elements, some emoji sharing, a visual that you can see everyone in the room. And then for those that are a little bit more competitive, we have a leaderboard at the end where they can see where they stand and how they did in that meeting. And then for the hosts, it's a little different, right? Because the hosts have a different problem. As a speaker, you are not as interested in giving emojis, but you want to know how the room is doing. So we had the hosting view be a little bit different. So here you would see a live roll-up of engagement in the room. So as every individual person is getting their score, it's getting combined into a chart for you. So you can see when it's going up or when it's going down. We provide different activities like polling and quizzing so that you can give an intervention if you see motivation or engagement is dropping. And a lot of reporting, because right, that's what you're interested in is the data after this event to see what worked, what didn't, and what you can do better next time. All right. One more slide, and I know this is a lot of information, but I wanted to leave you with a takeaway today of what things can you do right now, today, tomorrow, this week. When you think about gamification, one thing that I find when I've talked to lots of people about this is that it can seem kind of overwhelming, right? It's like developing a whole system and thinking, is this going to work or not work? So I have some tips here for you to get started right away and to take it in little bits at a time. My first one here is about gamifying Zoom or Teams or anything else that you may use. You can use an app like Town Hall, like something like my app where it's already developed, but you don't have to do that. I would focus on one game element at a time. Just add one thing. And it's not that hard to do, right? Think of one game mechanic that you think might solve a problem you have when you present, and just do that. And then evaluate how that works for you. If you do this in little chunks, little bits and pieces, it's going to seem much more manageable, and you'll see results right away, and you'll know what worked and what didn't. So I mentioned before, like breakout rooms, adding challenges to a breakout room. Another one is a puzzle that goes through the whole meeting. So let's say you have an hour-long presentation. Maybe every 10 minutes you give a clue to the puzzle, right? And whoever solves it first at the end gets some kind of prize or award that you're offering, right? It keeps people engaged in little bits in time over the entire meeting. That's a great thing to do if maybe the problem you're trying to solve is drop off, right? People come for a little bit of time, but then they drop off at the end, and you want to make sure they're there from beginning to end. Another one is add an icebreaker. I'm sure that's something you already do, but it's good to keep those fresh. So I actually have, and I'll share a link when we're doing the chat. I made my own AI trained icebreaker, and I'll share it with you all. If you want some fresh ideas, you can tell the AI chatbot, you know, your context and what your meeting's about, and it can come up with some icebreakers for you. Another one here, create AI-powered visuals. They're so amazing now what they can do. If you use PowerPoint presentations or anything like that to deliver your content, I would give it a try. Within seconds, you'll have an amazing image that can be styled in different ways. My two favorite right now are Midjourney and Starry AI. There are other tools out there, but I found that the quality of the imagery is pretty good. Please be aware that if you're trying to replicate a human, it tends to do things like give extra fingers or arms, right? Like AI hasn't figured that out quite yet, but they're working on it. But for example, an illustration or something that's a landscape, they're just beautiful and gorgeous. And then the last one here on the slide, ask one question at a time. This is more about just engagement in general. If you are, typically when you give presentations, you might have maybe a survey at the end, or even if it's a content focus, like you're giving a training that has content with a quiz, you might give it at the very end. I suggest breaking it up. If you have a 5-question quiz, after every section that you talk about that content, give one quiz question, right? So it's that idea of a chunking thing for people, and that's manageable and reduces cognitive overload, right? Gets them to be focused with you at the time, and they know what's coming up. They know there'll be a section of learning or training, and then there's a little question at the end, right? It'll keep them going in bits and pieces throughout the whole presentation. Okay, I will share this presentation out with Larry and others so that they can share it with you and you can have that information. For the Town Hall app, try it yourself. You're welcome to. All you have to do is go to the App Store and download it. It is free for participants, and there's a 2-week free trial for hosts. So give it a go. And I love connecting with people. So feel free to friend me on LinkedIn and find other ways to connect with me and ask me any questions that you'd like.
Let's give a warm round of applause. Thank you, Dr. Larissa. That was amazing in terms of gamification, the CHAMPS model, town hall, leaderboards, community engagement, reporting. Woo, my head is spinning. But I know for me, the big takeaway is to ask one question at a time. I'm known for stacking questions. Speaking of questions, we're going to open it up to y'all for any questions that you have. I know online we had a question come in. Dr. Kevin Schneider was able to join us. So great to see you, Kevin. If using Town Hall app during a live presentation, for example, a 60-minute presentation, audiences would need to have downloaded the app in advance, or can they do it quickly during the event? Seems like this would be an app for an ongoing meeting rather than just a one-off presentation.
That's a great question. So the only person that has to be in the app in Zoom is the presenter, because it does kind of connect to the back end of Zoom. But you can actually see on the picture here, people can open the app right through the App Store. It's actually really easy. They just click apps and they search for Town Hall and it opens. But what we have in the app is a code. Since we are designed for bigger events and meetings, we know that people can be kind of hybrid in different ways. So we have a code that can be shared with the whole room, and then you just can open it on the web, cell phone, tablet, whatever device. It's just a browser-based version as well.
Outstanding. Question.
Thank you so much. So many learnings. Love it. I wanted to know, so Town Hall works with Zoom, but I have clients that I do work with that they have to use Teams. They are not allowed to use Zoom. And I feel like, does an app like yours also integrate with the other platforms? I don't know about you all, but Teams is my least favorite to work with, although it's the most accessible. And so there's like that balance. Now, what do you find as far as when you encounter a client or a training where you have to use their platform and you might not be able to bring in Town Hall or other apps?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to answer the first one is no, we're not in Teams yet, but it's next on our roadmap. So Town Hall's only been out for a few months. So it's one of those things that as a startup, we're just working one at a time. So right now we're in Zoom. But I do hear you that there are definite times where I'm giving presentations that are in whatever platform the person requires. And the best way to do that is when you think about Town Hall, it's like a time saver, right? And that's why we designed it, but it's not the only way you can do this. You don't need any tech at all to gamify. It can just be even how you structure your slides. So for example, I gave a keynote presentation a few years ago where on the slide I was using PowerPoint, I had 2 arrows, and it may sound a little silly, but everyone loved it. It was kind of content dense. So I wanted to add a little bit of fun and choice. So I had an arrow that pointed up or arrow that pointed right or left or down, right? It was like a puzzle piece. And I let the audience choose what direction we went through the content. And I did it in PowerPoint. You know how if you can kind of click and it can go to a specific slide. And so there were a couple slides that were missed, but it was okay because that's the way I had designed it and I made it fun. And people were coming up to me at the end saying, I really want to see the slides we missed. And how often does that happen where people are asking you what slides they missed in a presentation?
Outstanding. We have time for one more question, either virtually online or here in person. Anything online. Please feel free to take yourself off mute. Got an open line to Dr. Larissa.
All right, this is John. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What's up, people? Hello, Carolinas. We just saw Larissa present at TechLearn. Larissa, what's the best use you've seen so far at Town Hall on Zoom?
Oh, that's a great question. The best use that I've seen of it has actually been a LinkedIn webinar. So, and the reason I say that is the challenges with LinkedIn webinars is getting people to come and then getting them to stay, right? Sometimes, for example, if you're doing a large town hall at in an organization, people kind of have to come so that you have a captive audience there. But solving that problem of are people going to come and are they going to stay there, that really made the difference in that event.
That's outstanding. Dr. Larissa, we have one bonus question and then we'll move on. Larice.
Hi, Dr. Larissa. Thank you so much. And I just subscribe to StreamYard so that I can go across multiple platforms. Will Town Hall integrate into that, like whatever I'm streaming from?
Right. I know there's just so many exciting things. So where we're going with our roadmap is the ultimate goal is to be platform agnostic, right? And the way that we're doing that right now is the host has to be in Zoom, but the participant really can be anywhere. And so what we're doing over time is we're adding different tools for where the host can be to make it work. So we'd
So I
have
could
to,
go from Zoom through those multiple platforms through StreamYard.
yes, yes, yeah. So anyone, as long as just the host is in Zoom, anyone, all the participants can be anywhere else, just because you can share code, right? And then they can just go on their browser and they can join Town Hall in their browser. So it's really host specific rather than participants. They can be anywhere they need to be.
Brilliant.
But I
And
do have a
so-
suggestion for all of you that are interested. You know, we are small and we're doing our roadmap as we go along. So if you have ideas, send me an email, share it with me. If you want to partner, let me know. If you want to try it out and do a case study or something like that, we are excited for you. And so let us help you figure this out together and we can go through the tech and see what would work.
And we can get it, we can download it in the App Store.
Yep, absolutely.
And this is John Chen. I can actually verify that it does work with the NSA Zoom account, as Zoom apps need some specific permissions. And so I can tell you that Larissa and the team have worked really hard to make sure that it works immediately for you. Thank you.
Thanks, John. And thank you all for listening. And I really hope that you give me some feedback, even on this presentation today. My email's here. Send me a quick note and let me know what you thought and what you got out of today.
Outstanding. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Larissa Nadolny. Thank you so much for sharing. Be safe out there with Ophelia. And let's continue. Round two. We've got Stan Phelps, CSP, Certified Speaking Professional. Stan is a Forbes contributor, TEDx speaker, IBM futurist. The list goes on and on. Best-selling author of the Goldfish series, is also an instructor for the ANA School of Marketing at Rutgers Business School. Now, there's a whole bunch of acronyms, CSP. He's going to be talking about CVP and the new VMP and how we can all up-level. Okay, we'll fix that. How we can up-level our credibility as virtual presenters. Let's give a warm round of applause and welcome Stan Phelps, CSP.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are going to see if I can share my slides so we can get them up here. We have to enable screen sharing. I want to give an opportunity for Kevin just to say a quick hello. You're muted.
And this is a virtual workshop, right? Just want to say a quick hello. Sorry I cannot be there today. I had something that came up pretty bad yesterday, and you'll hear about it later. But long story short, honored to be with you virtually. Thank you all for showing up, and yeah, to the whole board. You guys rock. And if you want to serve on the board as a volunteer, we welcome that. A rising tide lifts all ships. So good to see everybody.
Larry, I'm assuming you gave me permission? Okay. Great. Do me a favor. Let's have everyone stand up. Find someone in the room you don't know. Raise your right hand. Find someone in the room you don't know. High five them. Say hello. We're going to get this tech thing figured out.
Why don't you hit me with your best shot?
This is for you, Stan.
Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
sharing the other screen. Otherwise, you can also switch from
Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
yeah, Kevin, lip sync.
Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot?
Yes, you did it. You're a winner.
Fire away.
Back to you, Stan. Remember to unmute the main hall. Let's see.
Great. Let's sit back down. I know. I'm speaking and I can't shut up. That's my take on I've fallen. I can't get up. Peter A. Siete. Great. So as Larry shared, I'm gonna give a little bit of an overview of the CVP and the VMP, but I couldn't resist with Dr. Larissa. We're gonna play a game. Everybody up for a game? And the game is after we talk about CVP and VMP. The game is going to be about kind of tips and tricks of how you can become a better virtual presenter. And I'm hoping it's an entree because we've got John, who you saw pop and ask a question. He's coming all the way from the West Coast. So John's up early, but he's coming up later. Let's jump in. Who, by show of hands, who has their CVP? Okay, so just myself and Sharon. No one else has a CVP. So
Well, and Kevin too, Stan.
Kevin and Evan has it in the back, and Kevin's raising his hand. So if you're not familiar with the CVP, it's issued by eSpeakers. Now, you don't have to be a member of eSpeakers to get the CVP. But let me give you the focus. So the focus for the CVP is merely technical. What they're trying to do is assess if you have the technical ability to be able to deliver virtually. And by the numbers, how they do that, first off, the cost. So if you're a pro member for at least 3 months of eSpeakers, they waive the fee to be able to do the certification. If you're not, you just schedule a time. The cost is $85. Time-wise, it's a 30-minute assessment. So you schedule a time, you jump on. They walk through kind of all of the technical elements of being able to present virtually. At the end of it, assuming you pass, they let you record a video, which if you have an eSpeakers profile, they'll put on your site. And then immediately, if you pass, they give you this badge on the site, which that badge is good for 5 years till you have to renew it again. So believe it or not, I think I have less than 2 years left on my current badge. So that's the CVP. Sharon, I'm going to ask you, what was the process like when you did it?
It was pretty easy, and I did it right when the pandemic started. And we set up an appointment, and I had to log on at a given time and then deliver not a very long version of a speech. I don't know. I think I can't remember because it was like 2020, so I'm trying to remember exactly what, but I think he just literally wanted to see, could I turn things on? Could I share? What was the bandwidth? Was the audio working? Like the technical piece, and then deliver something. And it was pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, and they're not grading you on your content at all. It's just your technical ability. And then there's some stuff that you can kind of self-report that is not part of the assessment, but they will put on your profile. So if anybody looks at your eSpeakers profile, they can actually show the things that you went through to get this certification, which is kind of neat. And then also, they give you a badge, but if you're an eSpeakers member, that badge automatically goes onto your profile. So pretty easy. I would recommend doing it. It's certainly, if someone's thinking about you and someone else for a virtual presentation, the fact that you're certified could be that tiebreaker. Yes, Sarah.
I've stalked you and Sharon and looked at your certification. Huge fan. And I could see your video. So the video that you did as your test is still there. So would you recommend sharing content that you speak about versus, just kind of anything? Because do you find that people look at that other than me?
Other than my stalkers, I don't know. No, it's never really come up. But when you do the assessment, what I would have you think about is what do you want to cover? Because I think you get up to a minute where you can create that video. And I didn't like my first ones. They'll let you do it again if you want. So that's the CVP. And if the focus of that, oh, I'm sorry. Another question.
So I've paid to do this. I haven't done it yet because I have found that I'm having some internet problems where I could fade out periodically. And I talked with one of the people who actually test you so that it's really important that you are having this test at a place where your internet is going to be steady. Otherwise, you're not going to.
Great point. And part of the assessment, Sharon, do you remember this? You actually get kind of logged off and you have to be able to log back in within like a minute, right? So it's assuming there could be a glitch. So if the CVP, again, I would recommend it's $85, half an hour. It's painless. Why wouldn't you do it? This is going to be the next step. It's called the Virtual Master Presenter. And so the focus of this is more from a technique perspective. And what's this by numbers? You have to take a course. I'm in the midst of the course right now. It's $995. It is, for my course, it's 5 Fridays in a row from 12 to 3. So they're 3-hour virtual classes on Zoom. So it lasts 5 weeks, 15 hours, and there's an assessment at the end. You have to actually give them an example of you presenting virtually and demonstrating the things that you've learned from an engagement perspective. And you also have to attend in person and live 4 out of the 5 sessions in order to get the certification. And the length of this badge, as far as I can tell, you don't have to renew it. Once you get it, you have it for life. Yes. Great. So I'm going to go through how each of the 5 modules break out. And this is their copy, not mine, but why would you want to do this? It's because okay presentations aren't okay anymore, right? I think we had a certain amount of grace when the pandemic began, but now we got to create especially if we're being paid, presentations that are engaging and insightful. So here's how the 5 sessions, I just did the second session yesterday, so I have another 3 in front of me. The first one is about showing your best self. And I know Evan, when he shows us the studio, is probably going to talk about the elements of how you show up best. The second bit is how to enhance your eye connection. And that was all about how you keep the focus with the camera and keep people engaged. That was yesterday. Next session, audience engagement tools. And then the last 2 are one about how do you leverage creating dynamic engaging slides, and lastly, how do you deal with tech issues? And I consider myself very proficient. I've probably done over 100 paid virtual presentations. I'm picking up stuff that I didn't know. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. So that I want to make sure I'm doing okay on time. How much time do I have left to keep it on time? Sure. Larry, when do I have to land the plane? 13 minutes. Great. Awesome. Does that help? That help? Oh, okay. And you can also just Google virtual master presenter e-speakers, and it'll tell you all of the. I didn't want to tell you anything that you couldn't get. So we're gonna play a game. So here's the thing. In this room, I'm gonna have 3 different groups. So I want you to stand up right now. I want you to create a team of either 4 or 5 people. Go. If you're online, you are a group of, I think, 4 or 5. If you're online, I want you to designate someone to be the captain of the team. And you're going to direct message that person what you think the answers to these questions are. Excellent. All right, do me a favor, just pass that around to people. Everyone should get one of those. Do we have teams? There's 3 people here. Evan, you're busy.
Marie, do you want to be our captain?
All right, we're gonna do a group of 5. Let's have one person from the back join these guys right here. All right. You can sit back down with your team. Here's the deal. You're gonna answer. There's 10 questions. Actually, there's 11 because that's one louder. I'm gonna walk you through some trivia. We're gonna do this in sets of 5. So as I ask you the question, you want to huddle as your team. Let's have one person on the team that's going to be the official scorer that's going to keep the tally. But I'm going to give you song lyrics. I'm going to give you movie references, and there's even a sports reference in here for the trivia. You have to answer the question, and then we're going to go through the questions, and there's tips and tricks that are built into it. So the first one, what is the name of this song? If you're confused, check with the sun. Carry a compass to help you along. Your feet are going to be on the ground. Your head is there to move you around. Again, if you're on virtual, did we pick somebody as the captain? You want to direct message them if you think you know what that song title is.
Everyone can welcome Captain Marie Kirkland.
You cannot Google it, especially if you're on virtually right now. Great. 5 seconds left. Does it helpful that Michael Stipe is the guy to the right, by the way? All right. Question number 2, by far one of my top 5 favorite movies. What is the song playing out of the boombox? That's John Cusack. The movie is called Say Anything. What song is being played out of the boombox? 10 seconds. Again, you want to be quiet so you're not tipping off the other teams. Okay, question number 3. What's the name of this song from the movie Breakfast Club? And these children that you spit upon as they try to change their worlds, they're immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. This is a tough one. It's from a late artist whose nickname, one of his characters was Ziggy. 10 seconds. What's the name of the song? All right, number 4. This should be a layup. What's the name of this movie? A mobster travels to Hollywood to collect a debt and discovers that the movie business is much the same as his current job. All right, 5 seconds left. All right, we're gonna review the first 5 after this last one. All right, I'm gonna give you a clue. Don't get distracted by the picture. Historians believe that the first one of these events took place in October of 1621. And the clue is it's a holiday. Okay, we're going to review all 5 of these. I'm going to give you the tips and tricks that they represent. So let's go back to number 1. Who got the name of this song? What was the name of this song? Stand. Yes, Stand by REM. By REM. And so here is the tip or trick. I've done virtual presentations when I'm sitting down. I've done virtual presentations when I've sat on a stool. I've done virtual presentations when I stand up. By far, stand in the place where you live. I bet that was Kevin Snyder. I'm guessing. Oh, John. Yeah, there you go, John. Thank you. So by far, the most dynamic is when you're standing up. So that would be my tip or trick. It may be a little awkward, but you're going to be much better and the audience is going to be much more engaged. What song is playing out of the boombox? John Cusack holding it. In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. And so here is the tip or the trick is where do you want to place the level of the camera? At your eye level or slightly above your eye level, right? People don't. John Chen, again. I love it. I'm going to see. I'd be interested what you do for the holiday one, John. So just know at eye level or a little bit above, people don't want to see up into your nostrils is the takeaway. All right, what's the name of this song by David Bowie? It was by David Bowie. That was the clue, Ziggy. Turn and face the strange changes. Why prepare these things when you've got John Chen in the house?
Yes.
Yeah, it's changes. And here's the tip or the trick. There's a great book by Dr. John Medina called Brain Rules. And the rule is 8 to 10 minutes, you have to switch things up. But I would tell you, you have to change things up. When you're creating stuff that's virtual, I think you have to half that. It needs to be every 4 to 5 minutes. An activity, a Q&A, get them in the chat, show a video, but you've got to change things up. All right, number 4. This was the layup. What's this movie? Get Shorty, yes. Oh, you. I think that's Pulp Fiction there, John, but I appreciate it.
Going wrong.
So also, if you've got a 45-minute keynote, if you're going to do the same thing virtual, what do you want to think? Shorter the better, right? So roughly the same rule of half. If you do something that's 45 minutes, it's probably going to cut down to 25 or 30 if you do it virtually, right? Because of the attention span, that would just be my advice. Think shorter when you think virtual. Your client may not want to hear that, but they will thank you. All right, so end of the first round here. What was this? What was this holiday? Thanksgiving. Yes. Yeah. Thanksgiving. Yeah, I know. October threw you off. Yeah, first one was supposedly in October. So this is kind of a little bit of an interesting tip or trick. It's called the turkey tail. Does anybody know what a turkey tail is? Do you remember when your kids used to take the little, if you had kids or when you were a kid, you took the paper plate and what happened? You put the little tails around it. Well, the same thing applies. When you're presenting virtual, you don't want your notes down so you're looking down at your notes. What I would encourage you is use Post-it notes and place them around so it looks like what, Sharon? Like a turkey tail. Yes, a turkey tail. Great tip. It's really helpful if you've got some some numbers that you want to reference, or if you've got some things that you want to be reminded of, just use that as a tip or a trick. It's a good visual. All right, so where are we at? Who's our person online that was the captain? All right, great. How many did you get?
I believe we got 4.
4 out of 5. Ooh, we might have a leader in the clubhouse. Who's the captain here? How many, Ruby? 1. Ooh, you're really gonna have to rally in the second round. In the back, 2, and here, 4. We've got co-leaders. Co-leader, you guys can just watch. Don't feel like you have to. All right. We need to do this kind of speed round because I want to land the plane. All right, so here's the one sports one. During his basketball career, this Hall of Famer dropped 15,000 dimes. That's the cool way of saying assists. He had 15,000 assists. All right. 5 seconds left. Usually the point guard is the one that gets all the assists. Oh. No. All right, I'm gonna have to go back to that one. No. Oh boy. Okay. You have to be honest, I guess. 1 second. What did I do there? I apologize. All right, let's go play from current slide. All right, so here's number 7. I love this. On the way to the premiere of Meatballs, Ivan Reitman got an idea. Cheech and Chong joined the army. He pitched it to Paramount, but it ended up being this guy to the left, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. What's the name of the movie? All right, number 8. What is the name of this song? Here's the lyric. It never felt so good. It never felt so right. And we're glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. There might be a clue over. All right. Trivia question number 9. What was the first music video ever played on MTV? What was the song and the artist? Don't be Googling it for the folks virtually. All right. Well, yeah, we'll give you a half point for the song, yeah, or the artist. What's the name of this song? That's the artist over there, the duo over to the right, in the backseat of your Rover. And I know you can't afford. Bite that tattoo on your shoulder. Pull the streets right off the corner. Off that mattress that you stole from your roommate back in Boulder. We ain't ever getting older. It's for the kids out there. This group is called the Chainsmokers. What's the song? What's the song? All right, and here's your bonus one. This might be the tiebreaker. Who is the artist? He's over there to the right. Got a weird thing to show you, so tell you all the boys, tell your brother, your sister, your mama too. And the song is actually called Word Up. Word Up. All right, so really quick, we know that number 6 was who? John Stockton. So that you get that, everyone gets that right, unfortunately. Number 7, what was the movie? Stripes. What's this song lyric? What's the name of this song? Oh, let me back up really quick. So assist-wise, here's the tip or trick. If you try to do everything yourself when you present virtually, it's not a good use of multitasking. Have somebody that can help you, that monitors the chat, that organizes the questions. It will make your life that much easier. And if someone's paying you to present professionally, you should have someone assisting you.
We use the phrase "never Zoom alone."
Never Zoom alone. All right, great, John. Great tip, John. Do you have a sense of what that generally costs?
Well, it depends. It goes from
Depends.
a lot.
On the length. Okay, gotcha. Stripes is simple. Sharon would know this from TV. What should you never do on video? Right. It's called the moire effect because it'll start to move. So just be cognizant that when you do virtual, you don't wear stripes. We said this is Paradise by what? The dashboard light. Okay, great. So here's the thing. You never want the light behind you, right? Because that's going to wash you out in the background. You always want the light either in front of you, ideally if you have no glasses, or if you have glasses like me, you want your light over to the sides, filling your face, okay? Nothing's better than natural light. And for me, I don't need a hair light. Evan Carroll likes a hair light. All right. What was the name of the song and the band? First music video on MTV. By who, Peter A? The Buggles. Look at you. Yeah. Yeah. You got a half point if you got either one. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. And then here's the thing. You want to pay attention to the camera that you use. It can make a difference. If you want to get a good webcam, I'd recommend the Brio by Logitech. But you can also get, ooh, that's really good. Yeah, which is really cool. That goes right into the middle of your screen. What is that called? I just saw that for the
Center
cam. Yeah. Yeah, so that really helps from an eye perspective. Puts it right in the middle of your screen. So we'll show that during the break. 10 really quick. What's the name of this song? Closer.
Hold me close in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can.
Hey, you contributed. There you go. Yeah, so Closer. Here's the rule. You don't want to be right on top of the video, but you definitely don't want to be way far back. You want to be closer without being too close. That's the tip or the trick. You think, yeah, like that roughly. And also you want your eyes to be at about a third down. Right? Yes. And have some room above. Three fingers above your head. Okay, gotcha. Great. Play around with that. I'd recommend you recording yourself and then watching it for both the audio and the video. All right. Everyone should have gotten this. Who's the artist? Cameo. Yeah. So there. By the way, John's got all of the licensing for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, Cameo. If you're not, I'm going to see if I can get this to. No, it's not going to work. But is anyone familiar with the tool in PowerPoint called Cameo? So it's in the insert button on your menu, and you literally can create, like if I had this right, I can insert a circle right here, and it would be my face on top of his body. So it's a way to be able to put your video into the slides, and there's all different ways you can do it. But I wasn't, it's a really good thing for engagement. You don't have to do it on every slide. But again, as you change things up, that may be a neat way to do it.
I can tell you this one trick. You turn off your camera in Zoom and then turn Cameo on, because in a PC, you can't share the camera easily. Back to you.
Right. Gotcha. Right. And that's what I do with the screen behind me. Right. And so anyway, that's the tips and tricks. That's everything I have for you. Drop the mic. Thank you. So you guys had the group of 4. How many? 6.5. How about online? What did you get?
You have all of them, all 6.
You got no, add both your first score and your second score. So you got 10 out of the 11.
We got 10 out of 11, correct.
I think we've got a winner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner.
Let's give it up for Stan Phelps, CSP. Any questions from Stan's tips? Yes, Cynthia.
Excellent presentation, Stan. I learned so much and I was highly engaged. So thank you.
Yep. Did you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question. On the Get Shorty, you said if it's the presentation is normally an hour, 50% of that.
As a general rule, I think you wouldn't want to do that same hour virtually.
Okay, so if the client
You
is
try
asking,
to condense it. Yeah, as a rule.
so if they're asking for an hour, should you add more content to fill that hour?
Look, if you're getting paid, you'll do what they ask you to do. But my recommendation would be if they're organizing the event that you want to go shorter as opposed to longer. Like I normally do for one of my clients, I do, and Evan works for them as well. We do a 4-hour in person. When it's virtual, it goes down to 3 hours. So it's just a general rule that because of attention spans, you want to create stuff that's a little snappier virtually. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can share one additional tip if you like.
Yes.
I allocate half of the time for the audience to talk in my 1-hour program. Back to you.
Love it. Love it. So next up, we have our host here at Attended Events, Evan Carroll, CEO, executive producer here at Attended, which is a full-service event planning, management, and production company. His team of experienced event planners and trusted providers work together to seamlessly make your event a raving success. Evan is going to give us some tips, some tricks, some insights, and then he's going to take us on a tour. For my people that are virtual, you'll have to follow along with the computer. But let's give it up for Mr. Evan Carroll.
Thank you, Larry. All right, let me share here. So I want us all to step in our time machine, and rewind to February 28th, 2000. This company that I own, Attended Events, we produce events. We produced our very last event on February 28th, 2020. And then what I call the 20-day period started, the 20-day period. So in the 20-day period, we went from what you see in the top, people interacting, people having fun. I actually led one of my clients, had me lead an exercise with them at an event we were producing. That's actually the first time I've done both at the same time, present and produce. 20 days later, we found ourselves a disused conference room. Turns out the company that had occupied this room at our co-working space, the pandemic hit. They were from Canada. They all went home and said, see ya. So the management let us take over the space, and we put together our temporary virtual event studio. I'm gonna read the sign. Our temporary pop-up COVID-19 induced virtual event studio. Very first person to present in there was Stan Phelps. He was the test case. So then I wanted to think about, as I was preparing, I wanted to think about what that period of time looked like. So I went back, as millennials do, and looked at Instagram. And I want us to adopt the mindset of who we were during that period. So once we kind of got through the first round of virtual presentations, honestly, we were preparing for live events. I didn't have that much to do. So I said, you know what? I want to figure out how to bake biscuits. Now, let's examine who we were as a society then. Look at this. Nice height on those biscuits. Bob is a software developer, and he is critiquing my biscuits here. Okay. So then we're like, oh, let's redo the closet. Oh, this sounds fun. What closet system is this? You know, oh, there's Peter. This looks like a Brooklyn Boys project. Well done. So then, okay, well, this is going to last a while. So let's work out the home studio. So, you know, gathered up the camera, gathered the microphone. One of our cats, he wanted to be on camera. I don't think the microphone was quite in a good spot for him. So then it was like, okay, well, this is going to go on a while. So let's figure out how to smoke ribs. Like, does anyone have 8 hours to wait for ribs to cook anymore? I don't know what happened there. It's like, okay, how about macaroni au gratin from Ashley Christensen's recipe? Let's give that a try. Okay, here now. Then we discovered what the real COVID-19 was. It was coming around the waist. So, all right, let's go running for a bit. And then, okay, you know, we got more adventurous. Let's see what it would look like for a cat to go on a walk outside. That did not go very well. Did not go very well at all. Just a reminder, someone out there is quarantined with your ex. Just going to leave that one, no comment required. So then we started figuring out, okay, what does the studio thing look like for us? Can we make this better? I was trying to make something else better there. That wasn't quite how that was supposed to be worn. Here we go. This makes it to August of 2020. That looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. That was a virtual workshop that I did for one of my clients. It was a 3-session workshop. We did about an hour and a half. We basically took what was 1 day's worth of content and chunked it up into 2 90-minute sessions with office hours in between. So all that said, kind of a funny period in our lives, right? What were some of you doing during this time? Anyone? Shout it out and I'll repeat it for folks online. Trying to figure out how to put a studio together. What else? Got married. Congratulations. Still married? Excellent. Yes, Jim. None in person. Sarah. Very good. Deanna. What's that? Tiger King. Oh, that was the Tiger King period. Yes. So it was a time of a lot of change for us. Well, what I found is here at Attended, we were a solely in-person meetings company. We did production for events. We planned events. I was out on the road speaking. That's what we did. All of that stopped all at once. So I'm reminded of what hangs on my office wall, which is this phrase, don't think about what might go wrong, think about what could be right. And so we actually created an entire team and studio to handle video as a result of this. Now, I had to make a very big decision as a presenter because I had a choice going into 2020. It was either time for me to write a new keynote or it was time for me to double down in what we were doing virtual presentations. It wasn't really possible for me to reinvent both sides of my business all at once. So I chose to take care of my existing clients and help them produce better virtual and hybrid meetings. However, I kept telling myself, this is temporary. I'm only doing this to retain our clients so that when we're over this, we still have them. Well, it became very clear to us over the next 3 years that it was not temporary. It was something that was going to be here with us to stay. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. In fact, I have a white paper for all of you called Shift Your Event. And this is something that I presented to, groups of meeting planners. And it's my advice for what we anticipate happening with virtual and hybrid events over the next couple of years. And so the short story is that I believe that as budgets tighten, which corporate budgets tighten right now, food budgets are going up, inflation is causing some factors there. Virtual meetings are going to be something that a meeting planner calls upon again and again because they've got a CFO saying, hey, wait a minute. Remember a couple of years ago when we did something virtual? That was way less expensive. Could we do that again? Now, production is not way less expensive for a virtual event, but you know what is less expensive? Hotel cost, food cost, travel. All of those costs are less expensive for a company, especially when all of those people work for the same company and they're all billing back to the same account. So your corporate meetings, I'm anticipating they're going to be virtual, they're going to be hybrid. Your associations, however, where do they make their money? They make their money on registration to events and memberships. They're the ones that are more likely to be really dedicated to that in-person event. So our advice for meeting planners are these 5 points. I'm going to run through them. Well, there's 6 points, I should say. Run through them very quickly. First, digital events are still viable. There's Sharon Delaney on the screen right there. Digital events are still viable, and they're an important tool in the meeting planner's toolkit. Second thing we share with them is jump ahead here, is that formats are increasingly flexible. So what might have been, hey, we're going to take a day and we're going to sit in a room together, might turn into, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to spend 90 minutes together 3 days a week. It's a very different model. We're going to be working through different formats. Now, I mentioned the studio that we've built here in the Truist building in downtown Raleigh. We can do all sorts of different things, and we'll tour it here in just a moment. This is just a sampling of some of the types of work that we are able to do inside the studio. The third lesson, online is an expectation. I'm sure John and others will agree that if there's not an online component to your meeting, especially if it's a registration-based meeting, it's going to be looked upon unfavorably by the audience. So we have to think about what that experience is for our online audience. If you're going to ask people to gather in person, this is my advice to meeting planners, make sure it's worth it. Make the meeting worth it. So part of that is the value we provide as speakers and creating a great experience in person. Just showing up, giving your presentation is not good enough anymore, whether it's online or in person. Next up, quality always, always, always matters. Let's all say hi to John. John's in the back operating our camera. He's also on this slide, switching cameras. John's our chief videographer here at Attended. He's going to help me with the studio tour in a minute. He has another camera lined up in the studio, so everyone online will be able to see us. So it'll be a lot of fun. But our quality always matters. And today we're relaxed with our quality. You know, we haven't put lights in the office here. We haven't done things up to that higher level. However, quality always matters to your attendee, especially when you're in an association context and people are paying to attend online. Next up, cut costs, not the experience. And this is something that I feel very passionately about. There are ways to cut costs for both online and hybrid meetings without degrading the experience that you're trying to create. I have some thoughts in the white paper about how to do this. I won't get into those, but a lot of those relate to how well you negotiate with hotels, how well you negotiate with venues, and also where you choose to invest and where you choose to cut back. So this is my high-level advice for you. Usually I go into a lengthy discussion about each of these points with a room full of meeting planners, but I thought it would be more helpful today to give you an overview of what meeting planners are talking about and to leave you with the white paper so you could read it on your own time and think about, as a presenter, how do I fit into the overall world that is virtual and hybrid meetings today? So with that, I'm going to pause for a couple of quick questions, and then we'll go take a tour of the studio. Who has the first question? Go ahead, Stan.
I remember when it was early days, we did an event using Hopin. So I'm curious, what other technologies have you seen? Is Zoom the default? What's out there?
So what I'm seeing is there are really two categories. You're either in the Zoom default world, and Zoom has their own events platform, or there are a sundry list of other platforms like Hopin, which was recently acquired by Ring Central of all people. Yeah, kind of interesting. And things like EventMobi, where it's an integrated experience where you're registering for the event website, the event like in-person check-in and badge printing, the mobile app, and the online experience are all in the same platform. So that platform is called EventMobi, and there are several like it. Cvent has a solution. like it's even their solutions. They have like 13 different names for the different parts of it. But all of those are what meeting planners are leaning to because they're thinking about that online experience and wanting it to be seamless. But also, they don't want to have to maintain a version of their schedule in Zoom events, and then a version of their schedule on their website, and a version of their schedule somewhere else. So they're thinking about how do we integrate our efforts as well. Okay, one more question. Of course, I'll be around all day, so you're welcome to ask all the questions you want to. Yes, go ahead, Sharon.
How do we work with you if we have like a new client and we want to do a virtual event for them, and we'd like to, instead of me being in my bonus room with my little home studio, if I want to elevate it to the kind of thing that you offer, what would be your advice for a speaker?
Well, certainly, if you are interested in working from our studio after you see it today, that's something you can do. Reach out to me via email or via our website, attendedevents.com. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to ask you to tell me about your event. What's your vision for what you want to achieve? Because as you'll see in the studio, there are different ways to set it up for different formats. Here's the thing that I find is most reassuring about working in the studio as a presenter. You do not have to think about the technology at all. You only have to worry about engaging. Now, some of us are really good, John, Stan, others, and Kevin, switching the cameras and doing all these things while they are presenting, but it takes a lot of practice to get there. And if you have that high value client and you want to impress them, then that's something we can work with you on. Also, I'm going to tell you this, as an NSA member, our rate card at attended events for coaches, trainers, speakers, workshop leaders is a significant discount over below, I should say, our rate for corporate clients. So usually whenever someone asks me about that, I'll send you our rate card and just tell you to take a certain percentage off of it. And that's the special. I'm not going to say on a recording what that percentage is, but that's true. So we're gonna start the tour over, but I'm gonna repeat it, John. Thank you. Stan was saying you also don't have to worry about bandwidth, and so here in this building we have 2 wired connections on 2 different providers. One a local provider called Slido Fiber, one AT&T Fiber, and I will tell you that I have personally seen the wires from our IT closet all the way down to the basement of this building. We invested in our own conduit up the 6 floors of this building to our level so that, let's say the cable guy is working on something on the 17th floor, he's not going to cut us off, right? And that's redundant and bonded through a data center in Atlanta so that when you're here, we don't have to worry about bandwidth. We also have a cellular backup that we use as needed. So let's dive into the studio tour. So here's what we're going to do. For those of you online, I'm going to hit a quick button here. And now you should be seeing online, you should be seeing a view of the studio right now. So I'm going to walk into the studio. If you would please follow behind myself and John, and we'll give you the tour. And those of you online, you'll still be able to hear us, and we will be able to hear you.
What a pretty studio.
All right. Yeah. We're all going to file in here. John, can we still hear you? Can you still hear us, John?
That's a yes from me.
Excellent. Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
You're gonna
Okay,
have
so come on in. Don't be shy.
to use the last names. I don't know if you're talking to me, John, or John Cameraman John.
Good point. Both of you answered, and I thought that was good. So I'll specify next time, John Chen.
Thank you.
Okay, friends. So welcome to our studio here. John's going to adjust the camera, but John, I've got camera 2 up actually. Let me give you a brief tour of what we have here. First off, we have a 28 by 25 room, and this room is basically isolated and sound protected from the rest of the rest of the office. So you might have noticed as you walked in that you're not hearing HVAC noise. The only minor noise we have to worry about is when there's a concert on City Plaza, right over there. But even inside of here with our noise dampening, it's kind of like a low hum and easy for us to filter out with the microphones. We have multiple sets. So I'm actually going to show you the camera 1 set is more this one, which we have this wonderful monitor, which you can put your slides on it. So something.
Did you angle the television specifically to not have glare?
That's exactly right, John Chen. All right, I'm going to make a quick change of, I'm seeing myself now. That's not what I wanted to do. Many versions of me. What I actually wanted to do was I wanted to put my example slide up here. There we go. So let's say you're giving a presentation about values in Latin. You can stand here, you can reference your presentation. And what I can do is for those of you online, you might be able to see now, I've switched to a full screen for you online very easily, very quickly. That's something that we'll be able to do for you. So when I'm giving virtual workshops, this is where I'm standing. Now, Stan mentioned the concept of hair light. Obviously, I have a lot of light coming towards me in here. But to pull me off the background, John Cox, hit the button. There we go. Concept called hair light or backlight that will hit the top of your head, hit your shoulders a bit, and kind of pull you off of the background a bit. So that's something you can do in your home studios. Be careful with the rigging. Make sure it doesn't fall on your head in the middle of a presentation. Yeah, but you'll see where they're hitting my shoulders and on the top of my head. You can't overdo it. And John Cox will tell you that my hair is notoriously difficult to light. And we don't know why. Sharon, come stand over here in this spot real quick. Sharon has much better hair than I do. See, look at that hair shine right there. Yeah, much better than mine. Thank you, Sharon. So when we have clients in here, sometimes they want to stand in front of the monitor. Sometimes they're more interested in a round table or other type of presentation. We actually moved our couch out of our office in here. I'm going to switch the camera for those online. You can see me over here. So we can set this up in any way that makes sense for a client. Let's say that you wanted us to brand the space differently. Peter, what's your favorite color? Peter likes red. Okay, well, here we go. Here's the Peter A red set, ready to go. Peter, why don't you come over here? Let's see how your hair lights up. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Another thing that we've particularly invested in is you'll notice the monitor here. We have a motorized control on it because not everyone is the same height. And you want the monitor, see right now it's a little low for me because of where my eye level is relative to my content. So we want to move that up a bit. So we also have green screen capabilities. We won't turn on the green screen today, but behind you, we can flip everything around, put someone on that X on the floor right there, and can do a green screen. We can do that live or pre-recorded. So really, we've built this facility so that John's going to turn the camera around for us. We've built this facility so that we have a lot of flexibility in what we're able to do right inside here.
Camera is.
Go ahead. Question.
What camera is John using, by the way?
The camera that we just rotated?
Yes.
That is a Blackmagic Ursa broadcast with a Canon B4 broadcast lens. It has a full zoom and focus kit, not to mention a teleprompter and a talent monitor built on the He's actually going to take camera 2 and point it towards camera 1 for us.
quick question. What is a talent? You said talent monitor?
Talent monitor. Okay, folks, walk over here. Come stand over here. This is an important part of the experience. Thank you, Larry. Whenever you are presenting, you'll notice we have two things here. We have a monitor at the bottom. What we tend to do is we tend to put slides down there for our presenters, so you can be looking close to the camera, but you have that slide reference out there. It's kind of like the confidence monitor when you're presenting live. Now, the other thing I can do is on our teleprompter. Let me see if I can hit some buttons here. Oh, look, I just put the Molt view up on the, there's John Chen. I put the Molt view up on the teleprompter. You'll notice that it's dim in terms of the level of light. We do that because that's a piece of glass reflecting, and we don't want that to affect the actual image that the remote audience is seeing. So we dim that down. But while I'm talking, like right here, I'm looking right at John Chen, and I can switch back to camera one. I can walk up there, and John will see that I'm looking right at him. And I feel like as a person, I'm looking right at him as well.
When Evan looks at me, he looks into my soul.
You know, John Chen, it was a last minute ad for me to turn on the speaker in the studio so we could hear you guys, and that was well worth it right there. So thank you. Go ahead, Stan.
I learned this as a tip or a trick yesterday, is that, say, for example, someone asks you a question, and sometimes if you're looking at the Brady Bunch, they could be all the way down in the bottom. You can physically grab them and pull them up to the top. Did anybody know that? Yeah, it's a real. So now when you're answering the question, it's like you're looking at the person.
Yeah.
Shut the front door.
Have people doing other people participating. You can set it so that it's what you're seeing is what everybody else is seeing in terms of the order.
Oops, mic, please.
That's a relatively new feature, but yeah, absolutely something you could do.
Evan, can you
Yes.
repeat?
What Laurice was saying is that you can set the order that the Brady Bunch is in Zoom, and you can set it for other people now as well.
Yes. Follow host order. Follow host order.
Follow host order is the name of that. Sorry, Sarah's getting a photo over here. We're doing 13 things at one time. It's lovely. All right, Laurice, you had a question.
Yeah. So do you have to use this table and your laptop? Can you have a clicker and not have anything in front of you? And then the last thing is, do you do anything with makeup for the shine on people's faces?
Yes. So I'll answer the last question first. Yes, absolutely. We will show you the makeup room that we have in the next room. We also will, upon your request, we can bring in someone who does broadcast makeup and can make sure you are put together perfectly. You can have in front of you exactly what you want to have in front of you. I tend to have a table in front of me because I'm cheap and I'm not paying John Cox to be here when I'm doing a workshop. So I'm going to be switching it myself. However, whenever we have a full crew here, it's whatever you prefer. You can just come in with a clicker. We can even have, I don't always recommend this for professional speakers, we can bring in a teleprompter operator and they can run your script right on the teleprompter. So many things that we can do. We've also put notes view on the teleprompter before, so your slide notes will show up there. Yes. So John Cox was mentioning and have anything behind you that you want as well. So to your question, Laurice, sometimes what we will do is we will use this little cart. This is an IKEA cart. And pardon me, I'm going to slide it out here in the middle. I call this the LRD, the lectern replacement device. That's my name I made up for it. But here's what I like about it. You can frame your camera so it's off camera. It can be out of the shot, spot for your notes, water for you to sit your clicker. So you don't have to be behind the table. And so I also like it for a lot of our corporate clients where the presenter might be inexperienced. It kind of tells them, if I sit it here and the X is over here, oh, that's where I stand. And it subconsciously keeps them in the right spot. Yeah, so that's the lectern replacement device. Definitely not the podium. Fun fact, and I'm gonna look right in the camera when I say this. Is camera 2 up or is camera 1 up? Camera 2's up. A podium is something you stand on. A lectern is something you stand behind. Because the root word of podium is pod, like podiatrist. It's for your foot, not for your notes. Okay, that's just my English lesson there. Okay, so friends online, you'll be able to hear us, but we're going to do a quick tour of the control room, then we'll head back into the main room. Now, Larry, let me make something clear. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go across the hall into the green room. The green room's kind of tight, but crowd on in. Like they say at Disney, move all the way to the back, please. And some of you can hang out in the hallway if you need. This is our green room. It's a ready room space for people who are getting ready to go on camera. We've got the monitor where you can see what's going on right now. It has our screensaver on it. And then over here, I'll let you take a peek as you come by, is our dressing room, which also has our sort of house makeup available, but also where a makeup artist could work and have room for all of their things as well. So I'll let you kind of cruise by as you go, and then we'll hop over in the control room. Excuse me, Cynthia. Peter, you don't need a stylist. You need a whole team. Yeah. All right, let's hop on down the hall and so all the way over here is our control room, and I appreciate you guys with the phones kind of helping out the tour. I love that. This is our control room. We have a separate audio room and room for switching. So audio has its separate room so they can listen. We can record multiple cameras in here. We can stream to Zoom. We can pull in Zoom presenters and integrate them into larger presentations. All of that is from our hub right here. Now, behind most of you, well, is our audio room. I'll let you take a peek in here. And then I'm going to open the door to the network room as you go by, because all of the guts of what we're using today and that run the studio are all behind this room, which has its own duct from the cool side of the building air conditioning so that it keeps it nice and cool in there and keeps everything running, along with our backup internet connections as well. So I'll hold the door for you.
This is John. Can you still hear me?
Larice, hold on one second. Go ahead, John Chin.
How long have you been doing this level of broadcast, and what did you do before?
Okay, so we've been doing this level of broadcast for about 3 years. It was pandemic induced for us as an event planning and production company. So the photos I showed earlier were our earliest attempts. And then this facility has been open since May of, we're in this building since May of last year. We moved into this current facility in February of this year. So one more thing I will mention is, just in case, because buildings have a lot of HVAC noise, we specifically work with the building to have a button put in the studio that if we start hearing the HVAC system, we have a button that will turn off the HVAC to the studio. Now, it warms up when you do that, so we use it cautiously, but it's our extra defense around noise and being able to address it. So, Larice, you had a question. So Larice was asking how many cameras we use, and the answer to that, Larice, is it depends. How many cameras do we need for what we're doing? We did a program out John Chin's way. We were in Bellevue last fall, and we needed to. It was a virtual workshop, so we had a camera that was focused on the room. But we also had cameras dedicated to the whiteboard or the flip chart because that was necessary for that program, and we were switching. So really, it depends upon what we need it for. When I'm giving a workshop here, I'm using one camera. It's me at the table with the slides beside me, and the two options I'm sending are me with slides or just the slides. Now, if I was going to take that to another level of production, I would add a second camera, which would be me with slides, and then one that's me without slides and really zoomed in. So if I wanted to make a point without being without the slides being distracting, I could switch to that. Absolutely. Totally right. Q&A introduction, they're different times for different views. I would say when you get north of 2 cameras, you really have to think about what the third one's doing and its effectiveness. We usually max her out around 4 or 5, depending upon the program that we're doing. The program includes live music, like a live band. We can use tons of cameras because there are all sorts of details that we can zoom in on, versus it's just a presenter on a stage or a presenter in a studio. There's only so many things we can look at. We did one program where the client wanted to kind of feel like Meet the Press with a round table. So we had a very wide camera, and then we had cameras that were individual on people. We were moving one of them around to whoever was actively presenting. And we also hid a camera behind our TV to catch a shot of one person across the table as well. So it's a matter of what makes sense for the production. So I'm told I have 30 minutes, so I think I probably took that. But we'll be around for the remainder of our time here and can talk details in the studio and such. So Larry, I'll hand it back to you.
Let's give it up for Evan here. This is amazing, and attended events. Now we understand that we're right on time. We're going to take a 10-minute bio break, networking break. Please be back in your seats by 11:05 a.m. sharp for John Chen. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Larry.
All the hits in the pandemic here at KNSA Carolinas. Coming up next, the first song ever played on MTV. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles.
I heard you on the wireless back in 52. Lying awake intently tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine on new technology. And now I understand the problems you can see. I met your children. What did you tell them? Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Pictures came and broke your heart. And now we meet in an abandoned studio. We hear the playback and it seems so long ago. And you remember the jingles used to go. You were the first one. You were the last one. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. In my mind and in my car, we can't rewind, we've gone too far.
5-minute warning. 5-minute warning.
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. In my mind and in my car, we can't rewind, we've gone too far. Pictures came and broke your heart. Put the blame on
This is John Chen to Larry or somebody in the room. If somebody could move the NSA Carolinas computer to the front of the room, move the NSA Carolinas computer to the front of the room, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star.
Coming up next, Pharrell Williams. Let's all get happy.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon.
For those in my virtual audience, we hope that they're here.
With the air, like I
Feel
don't
free to
care,
unmute, say hello.
by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness.
Thank you, Marie.
is the truth. Because I'm happy.
Marie, rocking out with me here.
If you know I'm happy to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come back.
Hey, Marie, do me a favor. Tell me where you're calling in from. Oh, and Larry. Yes. Yes, Larry. Thank you. Angle down. Just angle the computer down just a touch. Got to see all the people here in the Carolinas. Marie, where are you calling in from?
Yeah, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Fayetteville. Excellent. Are you ready for today? What's the best thing that you got out of today already, Marie?
Energy.
Energy.
Yes, the energy, the tips, seeing the studio.
Yeah, that's a sick studio. We wish all of us had one of those in our house, right? Well, I will show you a way. You don't have to have that studio, but you can have a studio in your house.
Look forward to that.
I can also show you, Marie, how to have a studio not in your house. I'll also show that today.
Oh, okay. Have to leave it just a little earlier today.
I'm only 30 minutes. Hope you can make it on. It's recording too, so good for us. Meanwhile, I hope you're enjoying the song selection. How can you not love Pharaoh? Let's take it old school while we got one more minute. You know, just like NSA, especially in the Carolinas, it's Sister Sledge with We Are Family.
Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Halftime is over. We are ready to roll. If you could find your way to your seats, that would be amazing. For my folks on virtual, if you can make sure you tune your cameras sharply, we are ready to rock and roll. Now, we do have a preamble or a postamble. Evan wanted to share a quick tip that he didn't share earlier. So, Evan.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. It's more of a disclaimer. I wanted, we got so excited with going through the studio. I wanted to make something abundantly clear to everyone here. I am a speaker. Speakers are not my core customer. Our corporate clients are our core customer. Anything that I offer to speakers is done for the purposes of helping my community. So I wanted to be clear about that. Because someone said, "Oh, you need to go sell." I said, "Oh, I'm not selling here. That's not what I'm doing here today." And the reason I mentioned that is because there are so many people in our profession who want to make a buck or two on the backs of an inexperienced speaker or someone they feel like they can coach or train, and it's something that I cannot stand. And anytime someone approaches me, another speaker, to help them out, I want to make sure that that they're not pulling out their credit card and going into debt, without care, thinking that that's going to help them get to the next level. That's not the person I want to be. So anything that I'm doing for all of you is a service to NSA, a service to the speakers. And so if anything sounded like sales, it wasn't. That's my disclaimer. Thank you, Larry.
Hey, appreciate it, Evan. That's great stuff. Great stuff. And speaking of great stuff, I am super excited to welcome our next presenter. Coming all the way from the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, I think. John Chen is the author of Engaging Virtual Meetings and 50 Digital Team Building Games, top-selling business books. He's been virtually meeting for over 35 plus years. He's recognized as a thought leader on engaging virtual meetings. His work has earned him multiple awards, and his more than 250,000 clients across the U.S. and other countries, Spain, France, Taiwan, have experienced breakthrough results. Let's give it up for John Chen, Engaging Virtual Meetings.
All right, everybody give it up one more time for the one and only Larry Jones Jr. All right, great job. Thanks, everyone out there. All right, hey, this is John Chen. Now, whoops, I got a couple things on here. So, number one, welcome everybody to, hey, what's up, NSA Carolinas? Put your hands, let's see you wave, all right? Let's see you wave it up, all right. Good, all of those who are on virtual, thank you, Marie, too. Thank you, wave it up. If you have a camera, you can turn it on. You don't have to, but you can also hit me in the chat. Now, I need all your help here because Larry made me real SM all here. I'm real small. So, number one, I need to fly over to my book. So, everyone on the count of three, put your hands up in the air. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. Hey, what's up? Hey, I wrote a book. All right. I need one more help here, too. On the count of three, I want you all to exhale like you're blowing up a balloon. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, you guys are amazing. NSA Carolina in the house. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you so much for that. All right. Well, one of the things here is the tip. Number one is that this, if you haven't seen this is called PowerPoint as a virtual background. And the main reason why I really like this solution is I don't want to be a postage stamp. Right? There's like, we've worked so hard on our looks and our image and our presence, and we don't want virtual to make us the small little thing in the corner. So I think this is one of the best ways to be able to do this. Now, let's see, for those who are here, oh, I saw you have actually split screen, so you don't have to use this, but for those who are on virtual, if you only have one screen, I recommend you hit side-by-side gallery so you can see me, and then on the right side you can see all our good friends on virtual, especially the one and only Marie Kirkland. Everyone give Marie Kirkland a hand. She's been here all morning. Right? Thank you. Yes, thank you for the applause. Okay, so if you didn't know this too, this is a great tip. For those who don't have fancy setups, you can go side by side, gallery or speaker, and then you can slide the bar so you can make me as big or small as you want and the gallery as big or small as you want. It's a great way to solve the problem where you're the slides are 50% and you are 50%. Meanwhile, let's go into this. I'm John Shannon. First, I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to get a chance to meet each of you. And by the way, Larry or somebody, hopefully you will mic run for me. It will be important for me to be able to hear them by using a mic. So how did I get here? I have an illustrious 27-year career in team building, right? For how many of you know what geocaching is? Raise your virtual or your physical hand. What geocaching is? Okay, in the blue shirt on the right, at least on my right, could you hand him the microphone and please could you help me define what geocaching is, or at least what you know? Where's that mic? Larry's coming up. Look how Larry's running it. Here we go. Oh, and I can't hear him. So is he muted? There we go. Try again.
Okay.
Yes.
Larry's mic now.
Yeah.
Geocaching is searching for hidden treasure in various locations using GPS coordinations.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. What's your name again?
Jim Reckless.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. So geocaching actually was invented in Seattle. It's a high-tech scavenger hunt. The T-shirt likes to say we use billions of dollars of satellites to find Tupperware. So anyways, I turned it into a team and leadership training event. I used to do 160 events a year around the world for corporations and companies to teach them team and leadership skills. Then this thing happened. We've been talking about it all day. Every speaker knows what happened in March of 2020. And this is what my March of 2020 looked like. That's right. 15 canceled events. A face-to-face team building and leadership company is not the right business to have during a pandemic. But one of my strategies is to look into the past, right? When faced with uncertainty, I looked in the past. How many of you know what this is? If you're virtual, you could raise your hand. Oh, Marie, okay, we got to talk to Marie. Hold on, I'm going to bring up Marie. Marie, please unmute and tell me what this is.
Wow. Prodigy kind of takes me back to the AOL days, but it was like an online gathering space, if I remember correctly.
That's right. It was before America Online, over 35 years ago. It was the first graphical meeting space online at a time when modems used to make noise. So we've been trying to do this for a long time. In fact, in 2011, I wrote this book called 50 Digital Team Building Gains. So for decades, Marie, right, I've been trying to tell people we could do this. Right? You can save the travel and expenses, do real work, have dinner with your family and friends, and pet your dog at the end of the day. I saw Marie's dog earlier, and you could do all of that. And everyone said at the time, they said, "Well, John, that's a great idea, but here's a bunch of money, and you need to fly to the Carolinas." Right? So that was what was happening at that time. So, anyways, I'm sitting in my office, and I don't make vaccines, but I do know how to make your virtual meeting better. So I decided to put a class on Eventbrite. It was called Virtual Team Building. And my intuition said, give it away for free at a time when so many people, right, were in disarray and chaos and just trying to help them. 5,000 people took that class in 2020. And then my publisher called me back and they said, hey, John, would you like to write your second book? And I said, sure. And what I feel like is the cruelest joke my publisher played on me. They said, hey, John, we don't know how long this coronavirus thing is going to last. So could you please rush the book? Oh, I was trying to see. I don't think I got a laugh in the room. I got a smile from Marie. Okay. Anyways, I said, sure. So we rushed the book. I wrote this book in 9 weeks, 60,000 words. And it hit in October in 2020, it hit the #1 Amazon hot new release. And now, I was able to remake my business in under a year. This just goes out to all of those entrepreneurs who made it. Because I spend the majority of my time designing, producing, speaking at, and emceeing both virtual and hybrid meetings. Here's some fun people I got a chance to work with. Author of Walking Dead, that's Jay Badasinga. This is Patrick Lencioni. Sold 6 million books with 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. You might know who this one is. Damon John, our good friend from Shark Tank. And for those who don't know who that is, Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote a little book called Eat, Pray, Love. Sold 16 million books and had Julia Roberts play her in a movie. I was all of their producers and I got a chance to make them all look great. One of the things here we were talking about was microphones, right? You need microphones. And it was so funny. I got a chance to produce Liz Gilbert, but everything looked great. She had a beautiful background, natural lighting, beautiful camera, but she sounded like she was speaking in a bathroom. And so I said, hey, Liz, do you happen to have a pro USB mic anywhere? And she goes, yeah, hold on a second. Like this? She gets up, walks out of frame, comes back, and she goes, like this? This is a professional grade USB mic. And I said, yes. And she goes, she plugs it in. She goes, now how do I sound? Oh my, the whole place floored right, as soon as she started talking on the mic. And we're like, oh my gosh, Liz, that sounds so great. And by the way, now you can go back and do mic tricks like you remember. And this is a little insider for all of you at NSA. I don't usually tell this story. And she goes, you mean like this? And Liz looks into the mic and she goes, Emmer effer. With my client on the line. And the best part is, at least she knew my client. She liked rock and roll music. And we all fell over dying, laughing, and fell in love with her a little more. And of course, I reminded her, going, you probably don't want to do that during this conference, but that was funny. Okay, anyways, so this point here, what we're going to do is then share the #1 tip. And you've already gotten a few hints at that. But let's see if I can share. This is my #1 tip for virtual speakers. Let's see. Are you ready? #1 tip for virtual speakers. Oh, I don't know if I have my playlist here for this. Okay, so here we go. #1 tip. 3, 2, 1. That's right. You already heard this once. I should be playing REM's Stand, right? Stand and REM Stand. When you stand up as a virtual speaker, you have an advantage. What I call, you will be in the top 20% of all speakers if you can remember to stand up. And if you remember all the famous people on the last screen, they all forgot. They were still great speakers, but they would have had an even bigger advantage if they stood up. Something I actually want to share with you too, I said I would share with Marie, is that you can do this too in a pro studio, but I also want to share with you that you can do this whenever you travel. So I'm just going to give you a little vulnerability piece here. I'm in New Orleans right now. I just presented a conference called TechLearn. And what's really key about this is, let me just show you what my setup really looks like. This is my Airbnb. Hey, what's up, NSA Carolinas? This is what I brought with me for this program. And so you can do this even on the road. You can have an amazing presentation. It doesn't have to be Evan's amazing studio. But let me tell you, it's a lot easier when it is. Okay, meanwhile, let's continue on. So thank you for that. We will take some comments and questions here in just a moment, by the way, just in case you're wondering. All right, let's see. Great. So what I want to do is share 6 things, or I really want to give you 6 things before I leave this meeting. And by the way, that's one of my goals. I want to know what your goal is, or what your top challenges are for virtual meetings. So in a moment, if we get a chance to meet you, we'll do that. But my top challenge is I got to get people in hybrid to remember 6 things before the end of 30 minutes. So here are the 6 things. It comes in an acronym called ENGAGE. All right. Every letter stands for something. Every time you do one of the letters, you will be perceived as more engaging. And so here's the first letter. The first letter is this, E, engage. If you want engagement, engage and interact with every attendee. Larry, help me find somebody in the back. Help me find somebody in the back and have them tell me their name. Thank you so much, Larry.
Mercedes.
Marcides, did I hear that correctly?
Mercedes.
Marcides, thank you. Tell me a little bit more. What do you speak on?
I speak on the power of thoughts and words, understanding mindset management, and how you use the scientific and the spiritual to use the power of your thoughts and words to create what you want. That's peace, productivity, profitability.
I'm already interested. What is one of your challenges presenting on virtual or hybrid? Here, I'll repeat the question. What is one of your challenges when you're presenting on virtual or hybrid?
Probably getting the feedback necessary to go in the right direction without being able to see the audience's face and or read their full body language.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. And everyone give it up for Larry. He put a computer at the front at my request because now I can see that you're all applauding. Right? That's one of the other keys here in hybrid land. Put a camera in the front facing the audience, even if it's not spotlighted, right? I have a screen here so I can see that, right? Everyone raise their hand and give me a number, right? Put up a number of fingers. Okay, somebody in the middle has a 3 up. The guy in the blue shirt, of course, my good friend has 2. Thank you so much, right? So I can see that. And that's really the key. As soon as the in-person audience understands that they can be seen, they're like, oh, this is going to change the whole thing. So this is it. Engage and interact. Have a plan to engage and interact everyone with every attendee before the end of the meeting. So that's really one of the keys. The next one is this. Right? Are any of you the host of the meeting? In other words, do you create the link? Have you ever admitted people? Raise your hand if you had ever been the host in a meeting. The host in a meeting. Oh, geez, all of you. Okay, here's a fun one. Let's see. I have a friend. She has been producing a meeting ever since the pandemic. And here's all the things that she does. She writes the marketing, writes the registration, set up her Zoom, and ran her own security. She kept track of engaging with every person. She recorded and streamed at Facebook Live. She shared her own slide deck. She chatted with attendees while presenting. She set up and ran the breakout room. She shared the video and chat logs after the meeting. And everyone unmute and just give me one word. How did she feel?
Exhausted.
Exhausted. What else?
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Excellent. And Alice, I saw your hand up. Alice, Alice here online, did you have a word? I'm checking with Alice. Okay, she hasn't found her mute button. I'm sorry, there was one more word in the room. Go ahead.
Stressed.
Stress. Okay, good. So one of our solutions for that, which I believe you heard a version of it today, the N in engage stands for this: never lead a meeting alone. If you're here on Zoom, we gave you the shortcut: never Zoom alone. As a presenter, if you use what is called either a producer or somebody there to help you, you, the speaker, can spend more time engaging with the people online. Like right now, I'm working with Larry. Right? Larry is really helping me engage the in-person audience that we have here today. And I know that Marie is here with me too. So Marie is actually kind of side benefiting me. So thank you so much. Never lead a meeting alone. You can find that you can delegate as much as possible so that you, the presenter, can stay completely focused on the attendee. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, you might have seen some of these bad backgrounds, right? Here's a problem background. I'm too close to my camera. Well, that's Evan's. I'm way too close to my camera. The next one, oh, my froze on my internet. By the way, I'm on somebody else's internet. I might freeze at least once today, but so far I'm doing pretty good. Here's the next one. Oh, my camera is too high. Have you ever seen somebody's ceiling or not even their head? You definitely want to do. Here's actually a great trick. You take 4 fingers. All right, Marie, help me out. Do 4 fingers. Everyone in the audience, give me 4 fingers. Put them together. Put them on top of your head like this, sidewards. And if you angle the camera and that the pinky is at the top of the camera, that is where the camera should be. So like Marie right now could actually touch her camera just down a notch, and it would look amazing. So with that, of course, and this is my other friend who has, I have no idea how to use a green screen. Okay, so the key here is that the G in engage stands for good looks, right? You need to look great, which is have a great camera. But in addition to that, pay attention to your background, whether it's virtual or in person, because people are looking, right? If you've ever read Malcolm Gladwell's Blink, you know that people make snap judgments with all of their years in a life while looking at you and looking at your background. So for instance, here I have some awards. right? Hopefully saying that he's done something, has a book, he's an expert in something. And there's a photo here, and the photo is me skydiving. Now, you just met me, but the photo is of me skydiving. So what could somebody presume about me? Make an assumption about me if they saw this photo of me skydiving? Could somebody raise their hand, whether they're in person? Oh yeah, the red shirt in the back right. Other side, Larry, other side. Go, Larry.
John Chen is a risk taker.
Oh, that's right. What's that? Who's that?
Peter A.
Hey, Peter, what's going on?
Wait for you to respond to my LinkedIn post.
Okay, I'll do that. Wait, before you go. Okay, Peter. So that's right, skydiving. He knows I'm a risk taker. Now, Peter, if I invited you to go skydiving tomorrow, what is your response?
I would go, but my wife would not let me.
Thank you so much, Peter. I find people are in two camps. They're in the heck yeah or the no way camp, right? So, but it does say a lot, and this is why good looks matter so much. In fact, one of my friends, I read an article. Yeah, one of my friends was interviewing for a job, and he was smart enough to look on LinkedIn and said that his interviewer, she is a Lakers fan. So he changed his background to this, right? Staples Center. This is available online and it's free. So he changes the background to this, and he logs into the interview meeting, and then the recruiter logs on. She takes one look at the background and she says, okay, you got me. And so they start talking about the Lakers for 5 minutes. Kobe, Shaq, right? All the great years of the Lakers, blah, blah, blah. And so he noticed that she started to warm up, right? And the shortcut to the end of the story, he got the job. Your background, your good looks can mean money or revenue or job or prestige. So think about what's in your background, right? And take a good look at trying to upgrade that. Come on up next now. Of course, here on Zoom, we know that the challenge is that people can't talk all at the same time, right? If we all talk, nobody can hear anything. You spend time repeating each other. So the A in engage stands for air traffic control. Air traffic control says this: you as a facilitator can work together so that only one person is talking at a time. So this is actually a snapshot of 5,000 airplanes flying in the United States at the same time, and they don't hit each other. Why? Because they have air traffic control. So if two people raise their hand at the same time, you break the tie, right, and say Marie first, and then maybe Jeff or somebody else next. Okay, the next one is this. People are having problems working online in the beginning. 7 PhDs at UW, University of Washington in my state, came back and they said they tried to make a decision in 1 hour. And they were unable to make that decision. So I asked one of the PhDs, I asked her, why couldn't they do that? And she said, John, we don't have any systems to do this. It took them over 50 minutes to decide to use a shared Google Doc. And then she said, we have no practice in doing this. So our solution to this is get productive with virtual tools. Learn all the tools on your platform. Like many people don't know. In fact, this PowerPoint has virtual background. In my latest poll, less than 1% out of 100, right? Less than 1 out of 100 will use this and actually use this well. So there are many virtual tools. And then, of course, if you need something else, you can go outside, like Mentimeter, Poll Everywhere, all the other tools that you might need to engage. So get productive with virtual tools. And the last one like this. Please raise your hand if you had Zoom fatigue at least once in the last 3 years. Okay, yeah. So now do me a favor. Those who are on chat, and please chat the number, the maximum number of hours you've ever been online in a day. All of you in person, put your hands up. And if you have to go over 10, use your left hand for the tens, right? And the right hand for numbers. The maximum number of hours that you've been online. Okay, let's see if I got a few of you here online. 6, 8, 9, 10, some are 4, 2 in the back. Excellent, thank you. And then on virtual here, Marie said 8. So yeah, my number, by the way.
12. We had 12. We had 12 here in the room.
Thank you for that, Larry. 12. My number is 25 and a half. Somebody actually hired me to produce a 24-hour birthday party because she had friends all the way around the world. And then after we hit 24 hours, we were like, we just want to break Zoom. We wanted to see if it will actually break because there's supposed to be a 24-hour time limit. We made it to 25 and a half before we said, okay, we got to go. We got to go sleep. There's three main reasons for Zoom fatigue, right? Number one is this. You don't have the muscle for it. If you had not been on Zoom before March of 2020 and tried to do an 8-hour day, it's going to hurt. Here, let me give you the metaphor. If you don't work out, all right, and you go to CrossFit, it's going to hurt, okay? The second one is this. You know, have you ever had a great keynote, speaker is rocking, and then all of a sudden, okay, I'm just messing with you. All right, one. But the point is, if you have technical problems, that's the second part where it causes Zoom fatigue. People have to work extra hard to figure out what is he saying or what is she saying. And the third one is this. Well, NSA Carolinas, I'm going to teach you 4,298 hours of how to have engaging meetings. Okay, well, you can wake up now. But if you don't bring the energy, right, then they won't either. So the last tip here in the E is this, is end on a high note. This comes from product market research that says, like in a 60-minute demo, if you can create a high note with your product in the last 3 to 5 minutes, people are more likely to buy. Your keynotes are exactly the same way. If you can create a high note, right, with your keynote or your breakout, then people are more likely to be ready to come back to see you again or ready for the next session. We tested this in a 1,200 person conference, all virtual. The only 100% virtual conference, live virtual conference in the training industry, and it worked. Everybody was ready for that. So now in a moment, I'm going to have a few of you introduce yourself. You're going to raise your physical hand or your virtual hand, and I would like you to add a few things, your name, right? What you do, and the last one is, what is one of your virtual challenges that you're still having today? Again, who are you, what you do, or what you speak on, and what's one of your virtual challenges today? Let's take a few minutes to do that. Okay, we got somebody in the front row.
I guess so. My name is Brett Clues. I speak on, basically I do business and I work on people growing, scaling the business, and ultimately trying to get out of it or so that they can have more time. But my biggest problem is I generally work with younger people that are managing the businesses right now, and they don't pay attention. Like they're not engaged. They're not looking at the screen. A lot of times they don't have a screen, and when they do, it's on a phone. And so I'm getting dizzy watching them get dizzy, walk around their house with their phone. So yeah, that's my biggest problem.
Yeah, that's a great tip, which is to give the tip to them saying, could you find a stable place for your camera during our session? That would be a great ideal place. And again, this is kind of where you get some of this placement. If you can just get a stable camera for that, then you can make sure. But at least to give you 10 credits, they had their camera on. Larry, do me a favor. Tell me what our end time was, because I knew that we shifted the start time.
You're good until 11:45.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you're the precious. Okay, somebody else again. How about somebody who's virtual? I see either Alice or Marie.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Alice. I hear you, Alice.
Okay. Alice Shapiro. I'm a digital and performance artist. And my biggest challenge is funding for innovative production.
Okay. Well, here, Alice, I'll give you funding 101. Ask a lot. That's good. Yeah, and I think the second one is. I am a big fan of art, and I'm also a philanthropic leader in Seattle. And often, too, you have to find the hook in the art, right? In other words, I'm trying to say, like, especially if you're bringing stuff that's digital right now, I think that you can find that you can have an advantage, especially if you're going to do something you haven't done before. So here's an example. I have my most technologically advanced program is called Seeds of Virtual Facilitation. And I push open broadcast software, otherwise known as OBS, to make the most technologically advanced virtual program that I can. And here at TechLearn, right, from Training Magazine, they have a conference called TechLearn. This was the first time that I adapted it to in person. It required me bringing the setup that I showed you plus 3 cameras. One here like this that I'm seeing you. And the other 2 cameras, one was a wide angle shot back in the audience, and the other one was a tight zoom. And I actually controlled the zoom. So even though I should have had somebody else like a John, right, run that camera, I had a remote so I could move that camera. So I was able to, for the first time, create that program and run it in person and hybrid. And so again, that's what I'm trying to say is look for the hook inside of your art to try and push a boundary, because I think that's what most donors will look for. They're saying you're doing something innovative and amazing. Sound good?
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Chat your website. I'm curious. Let's take one more, either in person or virtual. I'm looking. Looking for introductions. Okay, in the back row. Thank you so much.
Hello, John. I'm Ruby, and I speak on employee mental well-being in the workplace. And my challenge is, we talked about standing, and I have this little joint issue.
Yes.
Where standing for extended periods of time hurts, and so
Yes.
I'd love some thoughts around that.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. If you see, after the last 3 years, and by the way, in my setup at home, it's a little extreme, but I over the last 3 years, I've set up where I can have up to 14 screens available to me in my home office. So if you're ever in Seattle, please call me up and I will give you a tour. Now, out of all the things, like I did have a stand-up desk, right? Push the button, stand up, sit down. That's definitely a plus. But after the years, I found that this setup that I'm showing you now works actually really well. One is I'm sitting. And now, if I just get up, and the challenge usually is you have to have a remote mic or something else. I'm standing up. I haven't moved the camera. And all I need is about 8 to 10 feet, right, from where the camera is. So now I could go up to stand, right? If I had flip charts, I could be doing stuff. As you saw, I was using virtual screens to be able to do this. And then, right, my knee hurts. I'm tired. Like this segment here, I need to actually be here because I need to see chat and I need to be able to look at the participants. So I come back and I sit down. But as you can tell, I gave you my 6 points standing up. Does that help you? Oh, she doesn't have a mic, but I'm going to assume she said yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, so let's do this. All right, we're going to land the plane at the right time. All right, the plane at the right time. So thank you for those who did the introduction. All right, so I'm going to give you one more tip. But before we do that, right, how many of you are using Talkadot right now? How many of you? Wow, quite a few of you. Well, let's do this. You probably heard this script from Arel Moody, because I'm going to give a props to Arel Moody, who's one of our NSA friends. Because I've been using this, and I'm going to encourage those who are not using to try it out. There's a free trial. I'm actually still running the free trial. But listen to this. Arel wrote this script, and I'm going to tell you the bonus for this at the end of the script. Out of curiosity, by a show of physical or virtual hands, how many of you have already felt that they gained something really, really valuable in this NSA Carolinas Day? Put your hand up. Oh, I thought the guy in the front row was going to diss me, but no, he's good. Thank you so much. Well, the best way you can pay me back is take less than 2 minutes and fill out a very, very quick survey. All you got to do is click the link. Oh, hold on. For my virtual people, I do have a link here for you. Boom. Excellent. Oh, thank you, Alice, for the website, too. But those in-person people, you got to find the website. So there's a link there, or you can scan this QR code. Right? Take out your phones, open up your camera, and scan the QR code. Then put the code in, EVM. Again, EVM for Engaging Virtual Meetings, and complete the survey. When you complete the survey, all of you will get a free ticket to my Engaging conference. I'm not selling, it's free. 3 days of the secrets to the most engaging conferences, summits, and masterclasses on October 23rd and 25th. I want to know what you liked about this presentation so I can do more of it. And I want to know how to make it even better for you. I'm on a mission to get my message in front of as many people as possible so I can end boring ass virtual and hybrid meetings. Oops, I said ass. And when folks like you give me feedback, that's exactly how I do it. Please take 2 minutes, scan the QR code, let me know when you're done. Chat done when you're done if you're on virtual. If you are in person, put your phone down and just look up at this camera. And then I'll leave you with one final thought before we go. Okay, 2 minutes on the clock. So a side note for that is I did that here at TechLearn It's the first time I got 100% of the people in the room to finish the survey.
Things are big that should be small. Who can tell what magic spells we'll be doing for us?
Side tip, if you're in person, then walk around the room during this 2 minutes.
Only to be told, I can't see, I can't breathe, no, not where we'll be. And nothing's gonna change the way we live.
Coming up next, Larry, just point the microphone in the room from the front of the room, please.
Things are changing for the worse. See, whoa, it's a crazy world we're living in, and I just can't see that half of us are mixed in sin. It's all we have to give these futures made of virtual insanity. Now always
Oh, thank you. 1 minute remaining. Again, if you're on virtual, just chat.
technology. Oh, now there is no sound, but we all have underground. And I figure what a mess we're in. Hard to know where to begin. If I could
So what Aurel Moody hasn't told you is that this thing will also give you new bookings and leads based on how you answer the questions.
I've heard, child, that's not nature's way. Well, that's what they said yesterday. There's nothing left to do but pray. I think it's time to find a new religion. Whoa, it's so insane to see this as another
20 seconds left.
There's something in this future that we have to be told. Futures made of virtual insanity. Now always seem to be covered by this love we have for
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Outstanding. All right. Well, I'll give you a little time. You can continue finishing on that, but let's continue to add value to you. All right. I gave you this acronym ENGAGE. So let's do this. Again, if you're on virtual here, unmute. And if you are in person, Larry, just point that mic at the room and shout out the answer. What does the first E stand for?
Energy.
That's right. Engage. Engage and interact with every attendee. What does the N stand for? Larry, help me out if it's in the room.
Never leave a meeting. Never lead a meeting alone.
Never lead a meeting alone. Side note, if you hit original sound on the laptop that's controlling the mic, I can actually hear what's in the room. But otherwise, Larry's going to have to shout it out for me. What does the first G in Engage stand for?
Good look.
Oh, I heard that. Whoever's projecting out there, you got that projection voice. Hey, you should be a speaker. Good looks. That's right. G is good looks. Make sure you look great online. Also, part of looking good is sounding good. What does the A stand for?
Air traffic control.
Yes, Marie and the other person in the room. Air traffic control. Make sure that only one person is talking at the time. This is a great example of going slow to go fast. If you get one person to talk at a time on virtual, you will go much faster. What does the last G in Engage stand for? Get productive with virtual tools. Thank you so much. Right? Actually, that back here, this is something I discovered by accident. It's called Stamp Storm. It's a great closing activity where you can get every single person who's on virtual to stamp so fast that it looks like a rainstorm on your screen. So that's different ways to use the tools than intended. And the last E, what does the last E stand for? End on a high note. End on a high note. Here's the best way I'm going to end on the high note. Number one, I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in the chat. So Larry's going to have to share this with you for the in-person people. You virtual people get this immediately. And while you're doing that, please take a piece of paper. And ideally, if you have a Sharpie, please write what was the most valuable thing during this time with us together. I'm going to have all of you hold it up. You might have to hold it to the back camera so the back camera could zoom in on it, but I can see some of those with the front camera. So again, write down what was the most valuable thing for you. Meanwhile, here's what I have for you. The first 3 chapters of my book. Here's my equipment list of all the equipment that I'm using right now. Here is a link to the conference. Oh, by the way, you got a link to my conference, of course, when you did that. Here is, if all of you, by the way, I'm inviting all of NSA Carolinas. I run the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. I want to invite you and be my guest because I know all of you are awesome. Here is my speakers checklist, and this is my Facebook group with over 1,500 people in it who are all passionate around engaging virtual meetings. And this is my LinkedIn profile. In addition to this, too, and one of the members actually took advantage of this yesterday. This is how to schedule a 30-minute meeting with me. If you ever want to schedule 30 minutes and ask a question you didn't get to ask here, if I am available, I'm available for you. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready with your one word. Ready? Thumbs up. Okay, those on the back, I'll let you catch up. My friend in the blue shirt is the fastest ever. Marie, do you have one word? You want to write one word down. Alice, if your camera doesn't work, you can chat it when I ask you, okay? I got 60 seconds. And then, Larry, why don't we do this too? For anybody who doesn't have it written down, just pass the mic and just have them share one word what was most valuable. Okay, when you're ready, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, hold up your sign. Alice, hold it up in front of your body. In front of your body because you have a virtual. You! Oh, thank you, Alice. That's very kind. Okay, so now pass the mic around the room, Larry. Marie, push it closer to your camera. Engaging. Thank you, Marie.
Mine was half. I loved your stat. Like attendees should be talking at least half the time.
It's great. Yes. Thank you.
Mine was the survey at the end.
Survey at the end.
Get productive with virtual tools.
Thank you so much.
Background.
Wow. Background as PowerPoint. Background. Do this. This is super engaging. Go ahead.
Your virtual studio was
Oh.
simple and impressive.
And portable. Even better. Who else?
Get productive with virtual tools.
Beautiful. Are there any others, Larry?
Yeah, engagement.
Engage. Outstanding. We got one or two more? So I can end on time.
I think that's it.
Larry, bring me home. Oh, you got what you bring me home, Larry. Oh, here, wait, let me just finish one last message. Hey, NSA Carolinas and Larry, thank you so much for inviting me. I just want to share this, right? I had returned to influence. I've been in NSA off and on over the last 10 years. Over the last 2 years, I have decided to reinvest in NSA, and it paid me back. Number one, I had the best influence ever with people like Larry. Number two, I have been voted the member of the year for NSA Northwest. And the last one is serendipitously, I have been named president-elect of NSA Northwest. So if you want to visit your chapter, you better talk to me on the program here very soon. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for the one and only Larry.
Let's give it up for John. Congrats. That was awesome, John. And this leads into our CSP CPAE presenter Q&A. So Evan, Stan, if you don't mind coming up, John, this is the time for us to ask any questions that we have when it comes to creating professional and engaging virtual meetings. So this is your time. I do want to share, we have time towards the end for our speaker showcase, which is an opportunity to highlight and spotlight you, our members and guests, with a piece of your presentation. If you want to get feedback, you have a captive audience, a professional audience, and you're in a safe space that really allows you. So if anyone is interested, we're not going to force anyone to go, but this is an opportunity for you to test out some material. So we'll do that at the end if there's any interest. And for folks on the virtual, if you're interested, please just send me a message in chat.
Larry, I do believe Alice online has her hand up. Let's see if she has the first question. Alice, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't realize that my hand was still up, so I can ask a question.
Okay.
For someone who's in the performance business, is there a special niche of presenting that I should become aware of, or is general knowledge going to be helpful?
Evan, if you don't mind, I'll take the first shot at it and I'll let you do some commentary.
Go for it.
Okay, thanks. Things that I've seen is that, of course, I think one of our good friends who's the juggler who does keynotes, right? He built a studio so he could show the juggling virtually. We've also had dance as part of many live streams where they actually teach the other people either on live stream or in Zoom to dance. One of my other good friends who I met at NSA this year, she does wheelchair dance. Her partner is in a wheelchair and she is not. And they actually do a virtual version of it. I'll also give a shout out to the many magicians out there. There are a lot of really good magicians who adapted to virtual really, really well. Back to the table. What do you got?
You covered that, John. We're good. We voted you best answer of that question.
Thank you, Alice.
Sharon's up for the next question.
Thank you, Sharon.
John, I'd love to know if you've test-driven Prezi video. I use that almost exclusively for all my virtual, except for when on Teams.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on Prezi video?
Yeah, thanks for that. Prezi really adapted quickly, which I think is great. I think that Prezi, though, also had in the early stages some lag. And that's why I end up choosing not to use it in the early stage. That I hope they have fixed that problem. And so I think all of these tools, there's Prezi, right? And if you haven't tried Cameo, it just came out. It's a little late to the party, but I got to tell you, it's pretty cool. All of them are great if they get your message across. So what I can tell you is pick one, invest in it, and do it great. Table, you got anything else to add?
Ditto.
I'm going to let you answer the next one.
I have a question. I am feeling excited and overwhelmed, which is my two favorites after an NSA meeting where I have all the ideas. So I want to go back to Dr. Larissa's comment about starting with the problem you want to solve and the change you want to see, because I'm sure so many of us are thinking about the 500,000 things we want to do now. Can y'all share an example of something that you did for a virtual event that solved a problem or helped you see the change? Something kind of specific. Give us a couple case studies to help us funnel some of our ideas into something actionable.
So I have one that I'm working on recently. I have a 3-hour workshop, and that workshop is about crafting stories with data. And so the thing that is key to the workshop is time to work both by yourself and as a group to figure out your own personal data story. And so I was getting feedback that the audience did not have enough time to complete their exercise. So I increased the amount of time to complete the exercise, and then the feedback scores fell off because they felt like it was just too slow at that point. And so what I've been playing with is the combination of using pairs in breakout rooms, using groups of 4 in breakout rooms, but also combining, okay, work on this on your own for 5 minutes, and then we're going to send you into a group and really working with the flow. So what I would say is if you think you've got the timing and the structure just the way you want it, you don't have it there until you're actually getting feedback from the audience and figuring out what works. So it turns out the problem wasn't that they didn't have enough time. That's what they said. What the problem actually was that they didn't know how to direct their time. And I had to do that for them. So now I'll pass it to you. I'm sure you have a thought too.
So the little game that I shared today is part of a bigger workshop that I do on effective communication and presentation skills. And that used to be for in the room presentations. And so I've already went through 2 hours of the workshop. I'm like, they don't need another like slide after slide. It's just what's a little different. How can I deliver it in an engaging way? And that's how I created that little trivia game, because it allowed me just to call back things that we had already talked about, but say how it's different in virtual. So my thing is, how do you just try to mix it up and keep it engaging?
Great. Thank you so much. I'll add on to that. In the breakout rooms, right, the 8 minutes, I think, is the minimum for a great breakout room because people have to orient themselves to what's going on. Super cool tip that Evan didn't say, but he probably knows about. You can share a slide now to all the breakout rooms, and that usually reduces the confusion unless you have enough volunteers that you can put one person in the room. But I want to just give these 2 points. The things that really Number one, pick one thing. Pick one thing and improve it, and that will get rid of the overwhelm. Like a microphone. For all of you speakers who don't have a microphone, get one. You're a speaker. It will radically differentiate you. Like right now, things I can do are like this, right? If you can hear me, raise your hand. See, right? Whispering, variation of tones. But the last piece that I really have is this, right? The addition of music. Come on, give it up. This is NSA Carolinas. You are my family, right? We're all family. The addition of music to my programs has radically changed the energy of what's going on. You see, even like I was able to help even this presentation. We didn't plan that, by the way. I just did that for him. And again, I don't have to click any buttons because I'm using an external mixing board that's in my equipment list. But that is one of the ways that just borrow the energy from our amazing musicians and transfer it to your program. Okay, back to the audience.
Cynthia next, and then Larice.
Hey, John, I have a quick question. You are hosting a webinar, I saw. How do you keep your audience or registrants engaged and excited so that you can maximize attendance?
It's a cliffhanger. We'll wait for him to return.
I was happy to hear that we can share a slide with breakout rooms, but Zoom has a new thing now where if you click B, you can actually talk to everyone in all the different breakout rooms at the same time. Yeah, you hold the B key, and and it tells you once you put everybody in the breakout rooms, it will broadcast it to you, but you hold the B down and you can talk to all the breakout rooms at the same time.
Like voice of God.
Yeah. Well, you have to have the pro technology. You can't have the free one. You have to have the Zoom premium.
I was just going to say, when I do it, I get a warning that the attendees have to also have an updated software, or they don't get.
I don't have that experience because I have a virtual improv class every Friday, and they come even from their phone and they can hear it. Yeah.
I have two things to add to some of the Zoom features. Number one, I would think with I learned this week, if you share a breakout slide into the breakout room, make sure you don't have your caption on, closed caption on, because what you say goes into the breakout room. Yeah, and thankfully it was an instructor training, so I had a candidate that was doing her teach back, and she and I were just talking while folks were in the breakout room, and they were like, "It's distracting." I'm like, thank goodness we weren't saying anything, right? But the other piece I would just caution around using the broadcast voice. Think about folks in terms of that may be emotion evoking. Let them know you're going to use the broadcast voice first, because if I'm in a room and I just start hearing, you don't know what people's experiences are with hallucinations, and so that can be emotion evoking. It's a great tool, but I would just caution and make sure you know the folks in the room so that you don't cause an issue for folks.
You can also type in a broadcast message that goes to all the rooms. Yeah.
I'm going to be talking to you. Oh, so you're going to hear my voice. So
What?
just let them know.
That's a great call out, and thank you, Ruby, for us to be aware and thoughtful.
Hi, John.
I'm back, by the way. By the way, that was a great example of having a backup network. Thank you.
Quick question for you. For your webinars, your events, how do you keep registrants engaged and excited so that you can maximize the chances of them actually attending for those who don't pay?
Oh, sorry. Repeat the question. I think what I heard you say was, how do I keep them engaged when they don't pay?
For those free registrants, how do you keep them engaged and excited during the ramp up time between the time they register and the time the webinar hits so that they actually attend?
So you convert more of them that they
Oh.
actually show up.
It's nice to have them register, but you actually want them there so that you can show up.
Sure. And one nice piece about using Eventbrite for free events is number one, it's free. And second of all, you can send everyone who registers updated messages. You can also do this in, if you go to Zoom and use Zoom's registration, you get the list and then you can send emails. So you can send some other types of things leading up to that. Quite often, I will already have pre-programmed timed messages like one day before the event and like within an hour, starting in 1 hour. And there's like 3 stars starting in 1 hour. This program, it still doesn't guarantee that you're going to get there, but I'm still averaging between 50 and 80% depending upon which program it is. Does that help?
It does. I was thinking more of what to send in those messages. Do you
Oh.
add an ebook? What kind of value do you give other than just sending the email?
Yeah, I think, sending the email too, sometimes some enticement things. So has anybody here ever read the book Pre-Suasion? Pre-Suasion. One in the back. So put that on your list. So things like Persuasion says, right, is engagement still the number one problem in your virtual meetings? Well, when you click this button at 10 o'clock at this time, right, you're going to find out at least 6 of the solutions from me. And you can even then give one of the tips. Oh, by the way, I like you so much. I'm going to give you half of one of the tips right now. In Persuasion, the example was given that an insurance salesman was selling 10 times more than anybody else, so they sent somebody to trace him. He came out, and the observer noticed that he did something that nobody else did. Once he got in, he on purpose forgot his quote book in the car. And so like 10, 20, 30 minutes into the meeting, he goes, oh, well, great. I want to share a quote with you, but I left my quote book in the car. Do you mind if I let myself out, get the quote book, and come back in? And most of the people at that time said, okay, sure. The key here is that action signified trust to that person he was visiting, and more of them were more likely to buy. So think about reading Persuasion and deciding what could you put in your email to do that. Back to you. Back to the room.
Any other questions before we move on to the implementation part of our program? Yes.
$11 billion of value on the stage here, and then there's me.
So I am interested in using music, but I thought that there were some issues that we need to clear up before we can use somebody else's
That is correct.
music. So can you tell us about what those issues are and how we clear them up?
Yes. Number one, if you are live streaming, it doesn't matter in this solution. You have to get a different kind of license. It's called a synchronization license. I don't normally use it. I only use royalty-free music. Or even better, find your local musicians who play original music and use them, because then you prop your local people. But in these paid meetings or not so paid meetings, there's something called ASCAP, ASCAP, or BMI, BMI. My license costs only $300 to $400 a year, and 80% of the money goes back to the musicians, and I support that. So that's what allows me to legally play music in any paid virtual meeting. Anyone else on the stage?
How do you spell that second one again?
BMI.
Beta Max International. Thanks.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Let's say you have a hybrid event and you want to use music on a slide, closing it out, or even just an in-person event. Do you have to clear it with the event planner? Do they have the license? What about the conference room, the center?
Yes. Is the answer to all of that.
Yeah.
For the speaker asked the question, right? Because the license is different for the people in the room than it is for the people online. And so it's better to ask. And if you feel like you aren't getting good feedback, or they're not educated, or in the realities of the legal situation, probably easier to just go royalty free in that moment, Sharon. What that will let you do is that you're not going to run into a licensing issue, because the licensing rules were not set up for the world we live in today. They were set up for a television world or a radio world, not necessarily for what we do today. John, you have a thought?
I'm going to give a shout out to my friends at Song Division. They're based in Hawaii, by the way. They've been doing a lot of fundraisers for Maui, thank goodness. But they actually wrote an original song as part of my conference. So if you watch any of my podcasts, that is their song that has the words engaging virtual meetings in it. Another great host in the meetings industry just went to Fiverr and said, write me a 90-second intro song. And they did a rap, and it was actually really, really good. So there are lots of resources for royalty-free music customized totally to you and your message. Back to you.
Stan, I do have a question. So you took us through just a bunch of great tips. Where do I start? If I had to just pick one, I mean, I'm looking at it, stand in your eyes, changes, shorter the better, turkey tail, get help, never wear stripes, light in front or the side, video killed the radio star. What's number one? If I leave here, I can't do them all. What do you recommend as number one?
I think John agrees. Standing makes a huge difference, and it'll set you apart. I would also, people will forgive bad video. You know, it's great to have really crisp video. People do not forgive bad audio. So invest in a good microphone. Yeah, and don't wear the AirPods or your air traffic control device.
Evan, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm balling on a budget. It's an investment. I'm not quite ready yet. Getting there, but not ready yet. What do you recommend? How can I up level my game in my little spare bedroom with the hokey background? Give me top 2 or 3 tips to take my game up.
So I think the important point here is that your production value should increase as your fee increases. You can't charge 20,000 cookies to give a presentation and only spend 200 cookies on your virtual setup, right? So there has to be a relationship between the value you're delivering to the client, the value you're expecting back, and the value you invest in your production. So that being said, you just want to make things better. I would start with lighting. The web camera on your computer is usually good when lighting conditions are optimal. And so if you can optimize your lighting even by simply turning around and facing a window. By the way, we are breaking a major rule in here. We've got the light coming behind us. The only reason it works today is because it's overcast outside. But what you should consider is you have a window, face a window, get a light. Almost any light will do. John Cox in the back will tell you that you want to make sure that you have the color temperature of the light matches, and we can talk a little bit about that later. But that would be my suggestion. Once you've fixed your audio, get some sort of lighting for you.
I love it. Let's give a round of applause to our CSP and our presenters. Absolutely amazing. Here goes what we're going to do now. Schoolyard time. We're going to count off 4. We're going to break up into groups, and this is our implementation session. One question for you to speak with your group. What are you going to do now? What now? I've taken 3 pages of notes. There's a lot of stuff on my head. What are you committed to doing now? Let's share that with our group. So we'll go with Stan. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Three. Let's go ahead. 1's over here. Kim, we'll go 2's over here. We'll go 3's right in the middle. 3's right in the middle. That's fine. And 4's in the back. The question is, what do you do now? For my folks that are virtual, please, we won't put you in a breakout room. Have your own breakout. The question is, what do you do now with all this information? What's that action step? How do you implement it? We'll take 15 minutes.
Larry, make sure to turn the volume down in your room so we can talk. Thank you so much. Turn it back up in 15 minutes.
Appreciate it, John.
All right, everyone on virtual. Anyone who's left here on virtual, feel free to unmute or say hello. Hi, Alice. You're still here. Thank you so much.
Hi. What amazing information.
What you going to do? So you had a lot of great questions, especially for your performance style.
Yeah, so much amazing information that will now go into my grant proposals.
Ooh. That's really key too. You could, fund a part of the grant saying, what is the money going to be used for, right? It's to be able to present this performance in such a way that the virtual audience will be completely engaged. That's quite something
Definitely. Yeah.
outstanding. See, Kevin Snyder is still on. I see him unmuted. He might be. Alice, out of all those different things that were suggested, what's one of the things that you're going to do? Like it could be a camera, it could be a mic, could be something else.
Most likely determine how my script fits into this new paradigm.
Can you share more about your script? It looks like it's just you and I, so we can just hang out for a few minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I made a presentation at an art talk at the art residency where I'm fulfilling at the moment. And it was the first time I wasn't nervous about presenting because it was more of a performance. So I engaged the audience through technology and through utilizing one of the audience members to be a reader
Yeah.
of quotes in between my speeches.
Yep.
And so I realized that I had taken my format off the page, off the blog, and into real life. So I'm now looking to coordinate that virtually. How do I get the audience engaged, interacting with the information that I'm sharing?
Mm. And what's one of the ways you think you might interact?
Well, I was using music, and I was using technology, pre-recorded voice, that so I didn't have to say everything. So little snippets would be of me talking about a topic, and then I would interject, and then the guy would read a quote, and then I would tell the audience to take out their phones and go to a specific URL and check out the video, etc. So I switched back and forth from real life to technology to audience participation, interactive, when they engage with the artwork. And so I want to move that to a virtual presentation so that somebody can access it in a meeting.
Is it video? Is it, or is it you live? I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I tracking.
It would be, well, originally I thought it would be a video, but then I came across that platform that I think it's called Ring Central.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't explored the platform yet, but it seems like there can be interaction with the audience while I am live, and then instead of doing a slideshow, I'm doing a video or having somebody else participate.
Yes. So, have you ever investigated the free tool known as Open Broadcast Software?
No.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if I can bring it up for you. OBS. Okay, so here I'm going to just give you a short demo, and I might even be able to show you behind the scenes. The reason why I'm sharing this is, number one, it's going to fit your budget. Okay, so number two is, hold on, I have to switch cameras here. So it'll take me just a second. Okay, so that's the hold screen for open broadcast software. Now let's see if I can get. Oh, I know why this is not working. So let me put this over here. Oh wait, I take it back. This is not over here. Okay, so one of the things that I do when I'm in my main office is that I run this presentation in a very different way because I have a green screen. Okay, so in a moment I'm about to show you what this looks like. So I got to switch screens here. Okay, and this should now look correct. And now let me get back to my tool. Okay, now I can show you. Okay, so it'll take just a second because I think my camera was in use, so I have to pick another one. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to get myself back. Okay, great. Okay, so can you see me now? Right, I'm in front of the slide. Okay, so what open broadcast software does is that it allows me to put my image in front of full-blown PowerPoint, not just so the Zoom that I was using the PowerPoint I was using in Zoom is doesn't do video, doesn't do animations. So now you can see here, right? Watch this. I'll do this team building, coronavirus. So let me get you to a video. So you saw this in the opening. Now here's really the key. See, the people here are moving now. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that you could be immersive in your performance, and you can use a clicker. So you could be dancing, for instance, or whatever your performance art is in front of this. And so you saw my version of performance art, right? So it looks like something like this, right? I've been on a long time. I wrote a book in 2011. I put a class on Eventbrite with 5,000 people. So this is what I'm clicking through. Right here, I can actually use a clicker in front of that and stand up and present like I'm presenting to a real audience. And now taking advantage of the thing in virtual, right? The thing that you can't do in person is show up anywhere. Show up anywhere with that. Here, let me close these here, and so get these back here. Yeah, so you can be anywhere, and so now again, look, I'm in a theater, right? This is how the video stands up. So here, let me show you a performance piece. Hold on a second. Let me go backwards real quick.
I'm getting vibes of American Got Talent.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is what this was supposed to look like. I actually missed my music cue today, but I would say something like this. Here's my number one tip for virtual speakers. So I'm gonna wake up. Hold on. Right, so I'm doing the whole piece backwards in my studio, and again with a green screen, this thing looks perfect. Again today, I got to use a virtual screen because I didn't carry one with me, but I walk backwards, stand up, click the slide at the high point of the music, and point at this tip called stand up with an audience video, right, standing up, and so, right, that's performance art in disguise is really what it is. Yeah. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Cool. Okay, Kevin, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry. I'm gonna have to watch your recording, John. You were the highlight for me today, so I apologize.
Hey, you know something, Kevin, that we have in our virtual meetings is called the no sorry zone. You never have to apologize in my virtual meeting, right? It's fine. Not unless you really hurt my feelings. We're in the stage right now, Kevin, of like everyone's in a quad debriefing.
Yeah.
And they're saying, what's the one thing that you want to do? So even if for the earlier stuff that you heard earlier, even for you, what's one thing that you're thinking about doing this year?
The Master CVP, I'm gonna look again at. I looked at it before. Wasn't 100% sure that I needed it, but I respect Stan and what one of his comments was, he's done over 100 presentations virtually, and he's even learning stuff, and he's only in week 2. I also need to be better. I'm really good. I feel good about my delivery style in person, but some of the gamification and some of the things that are virtual, I don't know. I feel like I could step that up further quite a bit. So that's where I want to watch what you did, John, in the recording.
And again, I did this on the road. Even in my studio, it's even better.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there's no excuse saying, right, because I'm on the road, I'm going to give you a subpar performance. So I think that's really the key. That's what I wanted to show today. But Kevin, I hope you get to see my program that's called Seeds of Virtual Facilitation. That's where I push the technology as hard as possible and still get a completely engaging interactive program.
Yeah. What type of venue are you at right now?
Airbnb, hello. I'm saving like almost $100 a day compared to the conference hotel.
Yeah.
I used all that money to buy food here in New Orleans. I feel good about that.
Yeah. I Airbnb our sailboat, and I'm a big fan of Airbnb. I do the same thing. I don't stay at conference centers unless they tell me I have to. But the reason I asked, I was wondering about your Wi-Fi. That would make me always anxious, is not being at my home. Google Fiber, hardline. Relying on Wi-Fi to do, especially what you're doing, that would give me anxiety, not knowing if it'd work.
Yeah, we did have anxiety today too. I did lose connection. At least luckily it was in the Q&A, so there's 2 other people on stage. But I am carrying a Verizon 5G home internet. So that was my second backup. And then my third backup today, actually, which I switched to because it was faster, was my phone. Because I tested the Verizon earlier and it wasn't fast enough. Yeah, thank you, Larry. So yeah, it wasn't fast enough, so I didn't end up using it. So yeah, the worst case, Kevin, my best story for this. Opening speaker for like an EO Entrepreneurs Organization conference, the one where Damon John was speaking, right? It was a big deal. They spent a lot of money. And I told him, he goes, I caught in the rehearsal. He go, wait. You're all meeting? You're having a board meeting at a golf club beforehand? I said, you need to call me from that golf club as soon as possible. And you know what? He didn't. You know what happened? Is that as soon as he went on in the opening comments, because he was the chair of that conference, his internet died. He had to give me a pre-recorded thing afterwards, but it was just flat out embarrassing for no good reason, except all he had to do was call me 10 to 20 minutes beforehand and get something stable, and he didn't do it.
Wow. Hey, can I show you real quick? I'd love to, because I heard you mention DSLR earlier, right? What kind of DSLR camera do you use?
Canon SL3s is my current favorite. Now, because I have more than one, I can interchange all the lenses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of mirrorless cameras is what's hot on the market now. But these are in the 500-600 range. You can also find them used in the 300 range now because there's so many out there.
Yeah, I have 2 Sony A6400s.
Yes.
And I got a little switcher in front of me, and so I can go in between this camera angle or that one, and that's where I would show my slides.
Yes.
I need to, and then I've got this little GoPro. When I want to use it, I can actually walk around and show people my studio.
Yes.
And one of the things I did, I'm in my upstairs attic. A year ago or 6 months ago, I had everything from the ground, all my easels, all my cords, power supplies, HDMIs. It looked like crap. And so now I just hung it all up into the ceiling.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But
now
because you get all your table space back.
Yeah, and my table space is air hockey. I can play air hockey with my daughter. It turns into a pool table.
The new camera I'm using right now, Kevin, is a 4K camera. It's called an OBS Bot Tiny 2. Can I show you a cool new feature with it?
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. It does have tracking now. So let's see. This is called normal tracking. Okay, so watch. I can get up now. This camera is